These crackers wanna harm me cause I'm tawny. Me and my party, suavely looking godly in my art-piece. The astute, polished, knowledge hoarder who skips borders and waters. Wifey the goddess, we looking like the Carters on charter. Top charters, they saying we stab stuff in the pack. Lovely between brothers, already spotted and undercover. Sent them a bagel with butter onto another. Was sipping my green tea and Fiji, life is easy as pie. Old sober millennials, what they take me for, I'm bringing light like bi-ratio. My physical thought, pattern and resembling the fire ratio. On my best behavior since wifey promised fellatio.
We got guests.
I got muscle memory from centuries.
All right, Ma, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, cool. Yo, Sneak This Sneaker Podcast episode. I don't know, it's a mini episode. We already did our episode for the week, so this is one of the rare times we've ever done 2 episodes in a week. Unlike our guests, we have Maul from the Joe Budden Podcast. What up?
Yo, what's up, fam?
Man, appreciate it, man. I first of all, I want to give a real shout out to the homie Zay Raw on Twitter, who actually, I guess, if you want to say, made this happen, because I had hit you up before, probably last year, the year before, about coming on, and you guys are on tour and clearly busy and stuff like that. And with you guys doing multiple episodes a week on your guys' show, I really didn't know if it'd be a possibility again. And it showed the power of the internet. He posted, I guess, a supporter of our show. He tagged you and said, he'd love to hear more on a podcast, and you said, let's do it, and we made it happen.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it is, man. I know we had talked a while ago about, doing it and making it happen, but, scheduling, and then, the world completely changed on us. So, but we here, though. That's all that matters. We reconnected.
Oh, that's what's up, man. I love that. And I'm a huge fan of the podcast. Like, I don't miss an episode. I love the podcast, like, ever since the beginning. And the evolution of it is crazy. And it's like one of those, your guys' podcast it's inspiration to, like, all of the podcasts to us. We all have that mindset and goal to one day get to your guys' level of popularity and, of success. And so having you on here is awesome.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the support.
Wait, hold on a second. I got to ask this because I don't know if this has ever been answered, and I know our audience a little bit different. So what is there a reason the podcast didn't start with the 3 of you, or I guess 4 if you consider Parks? Is there a reason it didn't start like that? Was it someone else's idea originally, or?
No, I think what happened was Joe and Rory and Marissa had started the podcast. Marissa is a friend of ours, right. And we've all been together for years. I actually was out of New York at the time that they started. I wasn't living in New York, and then when I came back to New York, they were kind of going through a transition. And Joe had hit me and was like, yo, I want you to come on the show, just come kick it with us. So I was like, cool. I was like, let's do it. So then I did it, and the response was so great that he had hit me the next week to come back on, and I came back on and I did it. And then after that, we had to talk about just, making it a permanent thing. And, my thing was always, I didn't want to mess up the chemistry that him and Rory had. So, we all sat down and we was like, nah, man, like, it works. Like, it's easy, it's comfortable. And we just decided to, we was going to do it. We was going to go all the way and push it as far as we could. And, here we are today.
Did you have a text thread or anything? Because that's how we started this. We were texting all the time. And then Greg was like, why don't we just take this to a show? We might as well, because a text thread is always jokes and whatever else.
Well, me and Joe, we lived together for years. That's my homie for years. He used to shoot a lot of stuff when we was in the house, just kicking it for his YouTube channel early on, and just post clips of us kicking it. So I kind of think that was always something that was in his mind, that we always had, like, just those type of conversations that, other people probably should be let in on. And, as podcasting began to grow, we had a vision of, we feel like all guys sit around and talk about some of the things that we talk about. So we just wanted to create a platform where we kind of like spoke for the people and addressed certain things and from a different perspective where it wasn't controlled by major corporations. It was just raw, uncut conversation. And I think we mastered that, and, we're trying to just push it to a level where it's mainstream now.
Yeah, what was funny is that, like, your guys' show, like, the same thing with us, like George said, that it started out with a text thread, and, our podcast, we love to, I hate to use the raw and uncut, a lot of people love to use that, but, I mean, technically what we do it is, we really talk in depth about sneakers and clothes and, things that are going on, and, I know that you guys have always been that way, and it crosses my mind every once in a while if we could be too raw and uncut or too critical about sneakers and certain things. Have you guys take that in consideration when you guys do come up with topics and what you guys talk about and how it could affect something down the road?
I mean, now you kind of have to, because we're in such a sensitive time in the world, and you don't want to offend anybody. Like, we never sit down and try to have conversations with the intent on offending anybody. But, nowadays people take everything and anything offensive. So it makes it kind of hard to have those conversations where it's like, we want to be as real and as raw as possible, but we also don't want to offend anyone. So it's a fine line that you have to kind of walk, like, now with the world being so sensitive, you can't, if you look at movies and you listen to interviews and listen to music from just 5-10 years ago and just hear, some of the words that they use and some of the context that they use. Like, if they was to use that now, they'd be ready to cancel everybody. So you got to kind of like, walk that fine line of not offending nobody, but keep it real. And with me, I always tell people I'm not always right, but I'm always real. You know what I'm saying? So I just hang my hat on that. The fact that I never try to sit down and intentionally disrespect anybody or offend nobody, but I'm always going to be real.
That's what I like to hear.
Trademark statement.
One of the things, we do want to talk about was like, growing up in New York and, where you've been at, with sneakers and stuff like that. We've had a lot of guests on the podcast. We had Clark Kent, we've had other few people. And, it's always good to hear, how sneakers became you're the only one on the podcast. Actually, we could actually see what you're fully wearing in sneakers. And every week, that's one of the things as us, a sneaker podcast, I look to see like, dang, I'm like, yo, I know he does not got chunky donkeys on today. Like, yo, like this cat is out here wearing it. So like, at what point in like, growing up, sneakers became such a staple, with you in your life?
Oh man, growing up in New York, that was a thing, man. You had to be fresh. If you wasn't fresh when you went outside, the homies was going to cut you up all day, man. And then you have to go upstairs and change your outfit. So that was something that you had to pay attention to. Like in my hood growing up, you always had to make sure you had the fresh on and you had the latest sneakers on, but you also had to have the right outfit on. You know what I'm saying? So I just come from that, man. Like, I don't really consider myself a sneakerhead. Like, I know they try to tell me I'm a sneakerhead. I'll take it. It's nothing wrong with it. But I don't really chase sneakers. If I see sneakers that I like, I think they cool, and I think that I could do some fly shit with. Can I curse on it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All right. If I could do some fly shit with the sneakers, I'll get them. But I don't chase every release. Like, I'm not one of those guys that go on the sneakers app and try to get like a release and all. Like, if I see some sneakers and I like it, I go get it, or I try to get it. It's a few that I don't have that I'm still looking for. But yeah, man, I just sneakers has always been part of the culture, man. Like, dressing has always been a part of hip hop, and it's always been a part of the culture. So it's a serious thing, and I like to see guys like yourselves that y'all go in depth and try to really talk about sneakers, and it's because it's a story around a lot of these sneakers that come out. Like, a lot of people just think that sneakers are just like, oh, they just look good, but it's like there's really a story behind a lot of these pieces.
That's facts. There are certain questions definitely if we don't ask, we'll get destroyed by our listeners. So I definitely have to ask, what was the first sneaker that you realized like, oh, I'm now into fully copping sneakers? What was the one that set it off?
The first sneaker that I bought that I was like, okay, now I'm officially into sneakers. Man, probably the way back. I think when the gold foam posits first came out.
Oh, okay. See,
that's a very New York answer.
Yeah, when the copper foams came out, I was like, because I remember I was running around town trying to find them. I was like, all right, I might be bugging out right now.
You don't rock foams anymore?
Nah, man, I'm getting older, man. I'm 38 now, man. Them shits hurt your feet, man. I can't wear those no more, man.
Well, you know what's crazy is that
hold on. All the foam is now is a weapon. That's all it is.
Yeah, I can't. I saw. I remember like a few years ago, I saw Eric Bledsoe actually playing in them. I didn't know how he was actually hooping in those sneakers. Like I said, yo, he got some strong feet, man.
Nah, you know what? See, we're older as well.
Greg gets upset when I make fun of foams. I can't do foam. But see, I'm from LA, so foams was never an LA thing.
We're both from California.
I understand that, but for some reason you have this like.
I do, and like,
look, I went to Arizona. I love Mike Bibby, so I'm nostalgic about that first foam. But other than that, it never came to me like, yo, foams.
Yeah, but like Ma just said, he saw Eric Bledsoe playing in it. And I feel like I'm 37, George is 40. So we're older as well. We all grew up playing in those heavy sneakers. So like when I can't.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so when I see people playing in these lighter sneakers, I don't understand how anybody can run or cut or do anything in these sneakers. Foam posits, Jordans, Jordan 4s, them joints were built to last. So like, I feel like we got stronger to play in those.
Yeah, I think they figured out a way to, make the athletes more comfortable and keep a lighter shoe but a durable shoe. Like, technology over the years just got better.
This actually might be something you can speak on because a lot of people don't realize this, but the things that like the professional NBA players go through to get the shoes form fit and the insoles form fit, everything to their feet, they're not getting the same joint off the shelf that everybody else is getting.
No. A lot of the athletes, they have the inside of their shoes are custom made. The insoles are custom. It's just that the outer shell is what the retailers can get. But a lot of these athletes, the inside of their shoes are completely different.
And that kind of like kind of a good transition to another thing I want to ask. Kanye and Virgil, they've come up on your guys' podcast quite a few times, like, as a reoccurring topic sometimes, and us for as well, us for one reason and you guys for another, and sometimes for the same reason. Do you find it harder to, like, continue to support, like, their sneakers or their brands with, like, some of the stance they've been taking for, like, the last few years?
Well, the funny thing is I don't own any pair of Yeezys or any pair of Off-Whites.
Oh, none?
Wow. Like I don't own any Yeezys or Off-White. The only pair of Yeezys that I actually was just looking at maybe like 2 months ago, and I thought about getting with the Turtle Doves, but I didn't get them. But I don't own any Yeezys or Off-Whites. Listen, I respect what Kanye has been able to do when he's been able to build with his influence and his name with Adidas, and Virgil the same. He found a way to add his little touches to sneakers and use his likeness and his influence to pushing sneaker culture forward. But I just never really, it just wasn't. It was more so like it felt more like a moment thing. It's like a fad, I think, and I don't really chase like the faddy shit. Like I like to chase like classic, things, and I don't see the Off-Whites being something that's like a thing that we'll look back on in 10 years and be like, oh yeah, these are must have.
Really? Because I actually consider like this Off-White, at least the first run of Off-White collection, I consider it like the greatest collaboration of all time. And only because I say that because Nike and Jordan allowed somebody like Virgil to like completely kind of deconstruct the sneaker, in which we had never seen before. They've allowed designers and people to like add colors to it and add a logo to it, but like he completely kind of chopped them up.
I mean, I get it, but to me, I think what Travis has done with Nike is a little more my style. I respect what Virgil did, you know what I'm saying, but I think that what Travis has done, I think to me it's just a little cooler. You know what I mean? Right. So those I have. You know what I mean? Like I made sure I got both of the Nikes that Travis did.
Did you at any point?
Or the Jordans rather.
Oh, okay, my bad. Did you at any point were you into SBs at any point? Because I know in New York City, skate culture is big, just like LA. And so I was into SBs heavy at one point, and just the dunks, basically, not really anything else, maybe a blazer here or there. But I'm always curious because, the dunk is a basketball shoe, and it was always cool to me that Nike skateboarding used that shoe as like the main jump off.
Yeah, I was years ago. I had I don't know what I lost those sneakers, and I'm just kind of mad about. I thought about it last summer. The Pigeons. I had those.
You lost pigeons
when they came out.
Who loses pigeons?
Yeah, I lost my pigeons, and I lost the first Jordan 1s, man. I think I left them in a hotel. You know, moving fast when you got to get out the next day to catch a flight. I don't think I checked the closet, and I might have left them in the closet or whatever, the hotel room. But yeah, I did the dunks. I like the fact that the dunks are making a comeback. I'm actually looking for the Tiffany dunks now, the low ones. I'm ready to get those. I never had them, and I always wanted them, so I told myself, I said, I'm gonna just go ahead and get those. But yeah, we was New York. It's a thing where, you know, you got to kind of just know. You can look at sneakers and just know what's fly. Like, I don't wait for everybody else to jump on something and say, oh, this is hot. Like, I'm able to look at a sneaker and I'm like, okay, will my jeans lay right over these sneakers? You know, how would these look with an outfit?
Right.
That's how I look at sneakers. You know, I don't look at whether or not just because I'm from New York, is everybody in New York wearing these. Like, I always like to just look at the sneaker and just kind of figure out how would these look on my feet with a pair of jeans.
You know, going back to like what you said about Travis, like I did want to ask you because, you know, you guys are, you know, predominantly a music podcast, and you've been in the culture and been around music and stuff like that, you know, your entire life. Did you ever foresee, because we've talked about it numerous times on this show, like how the transition to entertainers, rappers being the most influential in buying sneakers than athletes are?
Well, it goes hand in hand. You know, rappers want to be ball players want to be rappers. So, you know, athletes want to be entertainers. You know how it is. Like, it's all part of the culture. We all grow up in these same areas. You know, athletes on their way to the games, they listen to the culture, listen to hip hop. So, you know, it's like a marriage. You know, it goes hand in hand. And I think a lot of the times, you know, a lot of these rappers, you know, they try to figure out a way of impacting sports, you know, more than just music. You know, let's talk about fashion. Let's talk about, because, you know, on the way to the games now, a lot of these athletes, they think about their outfits. You know what I'm saying? Like, now going to the game, if you're not fresh, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
You got to be up on your fashion. You got to have the right sneakers on. You got to have the right outfit on. And you got to be listening to the right music. I think it's just all part of it. It's all part of the culture. You
know, it's funny, like when we had talked about it a long time ago, and we talked about that transition to like entertainers from athletes. I was telling somebody, I think I was telling my wife, and I said, you know, what's crazy is like athletes. Like, I don't ever look, even though athletes right now have been really, really trying to be fashion forward and stuff like that. When we look at entertainers, and I always give this example, like the first time I saw Ludacris and I saw Usher one time, I'm really short, and I saw them, I was like, they're short too. Like, and that's when I realized I can dress and look like them more than I could ever look like an athlete. Like, athletes are 6'6", 200 something pounds, and they're like anomalies, you know?
Right.
So it's like I always look at the entertainment world, it's like, oh, shoot, Travis got on that plaid, Kanye got on that T-shirt, I could definitely rock that.
Right. Well, yeah, it surprises me that a lot of these, especially a lot of these ball players, man, some of these dudes, they're really fashionable, and it's hard to be, you know, 6'10", and then
right.
You know, your pants look right on you, your sneakers look right on you, wear size 14, and you know, you would think it would look crazy, but a lot of these athletes, man, they're really fashion forward. It's really dope to see a lot of these athletes really get fresh. Like, I like that.
You still have to put in work to get sneakers? Like, actually try?
Certain pieces, certain ones, man, you know, like, because again, I don't chase nothing, and I don't like to ask nobody for nothing. But, you know, a lot of times it's some dudes that'll reach out to me via social media, and they let me know that they work at sneaker boutiques, and if I ever need anything, let them know. So I go that route. I haven't gone the route of actually approaching Nike or Puma with, you know, directly. I just kind of just lay in the back, man. And like I said, if I see something I like it, I just go get it. I don't really play the reach out and try to get connected game. Like, even though a lot of people telling me, man, you crazy, you could get everything for free. And it's like, you know, it's not even about that for me. Like, if I see a piece and I like it, I just go get it.
I've actually, we've heard that from a couple people who we know who are influencers on Instagram or whatever, that you actually, if you want to be seated, you at some point you actually have to reach out, and they're more than willing to, you know, assuming the reach you have is great enough, you know, sometimes they're more than willing to give you something you never thought you would get. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like, like I said, a few people have approached me about it. But I've always been one of those guys, man, where I just, I don't like, any handouts. I don't like anything, just handed to me. Like, if it's a relationship that I established with somebody on a genuine level and they just happen to be connected in a place like Nike or Puma or something like that, then maybe we could do something. But just reaching out to somebody that I don't know, asking for something and all that, that's just, I've never been that guy.
Yeah, we get a lot of people, who, and they're more of like, people that are just starting out. They hey, they want to give us stuff or send us stuff here and there. We're kind of the same way. And, you have like these aspirations as a podcast to like, I'll admit, when we first started out, one of the things was like, man, maybe we'll get a free pair of sneakers and stuff like that. And, once you get so enthralled in podcasting, you realize how important your voice and platform is to where stuff like that just kind of seems minute and you don't want to be that guy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like I don't want to be that guy at all, man. I don't want nobody, if I call their phone, I text their phone, they're like, oh, here he go. He wants something else. Like, I don't ever want to be that guy on anybody's phone, man. So again, if people reach out and, they want to do something to make something happen, then, I could look at that and maybe we can make something happen. But as of right now, like I said, anything that comes out that I see, there's a few sneaker boutiques, a few people on Instagram that I deal with, and I just send them a picture of the sneakers, and I was like, yo, listen, I need these. Let me know what it's going to cost me, and we go from there.
Like early on in like the podcast, like when it like transitioned to like Park's House, I believe you guys had like, you guys would kind of joke around about Supreme and Keth and, Hype Beast and stuff like that. And, you're probably in a more greater position than a lot of us and maybe some of our listeners to like, be able, somebody who's saying they're looking for Tiffany Dunk lows clearly is in a pretty good position to get their hands on those because those are not cheap right now. But like,
right now is the wrong time to be copping SBs. That's
like being on the hunt right now for a Dunk SB right now is crazy because they have shot up ridiculously.
But you know what it is? I that particular sneaker I always wanted, and for whatever reason, I was in Flight Club last summer, and I was gonna get them, and I think I was going somewhere, so I didn't feel like carrying the bag, so I didn't get them. But now it's like, I keep looking at them. I'm like, yo, I want these sneakers, man. I need these sneakers, so I'm gonna just get them.
You must be doing something right, because if you can make the decision, like, I'm not gonna buy Tiffany Dunks today because I don't feel like carrying the bag. that's kind of dope.
Yeah, I'm because you know why? Because I'm one of those dudes, like, if I'm going somewhere and I got a bag, I'll put that bag down and leave it, then I'll be mad.
I hate it. I've done that so many times where, like, and anytime we've ever been to New York, one of the worst things, like, when the very first times you go to New York, like, you have that envision of, like, copping everything and walking around the streets with your bags and you feel like, dope, especially.
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea. Now, I have been that person.
But hold on a second. But we were in L.A., you cop Yeezy 2s, and we will not leave them in the car.
You're right.
You made sure to carry the bag around so nobody was stealing out the car.
Well, because we are from California and we know the climate of our side of the country, But like I do have that fear of like carrying a bunch of bags. I've done it before. Sat down and ate at a restaurant, and left the bags under the table and come back and them joints are gone. That's one of the worst feelings ever. All right. But one thing I was going to ask too is that well, like I said, going back to what you guys talk about, like, do you feel like sneakers and fashion and stuff like that are in a good place? Because at some point, it started to feel like really saturated and corny, and it's just the lifestyle is getting really expensive.
Yeah, man. I was just talking to one of my homeboys about this a couple weeks ago. I was like, it's almost like a slap in the face with these, because it's like every week a dope sneaker is dropping, and I'm like, bro, do they know we in the middle of a pandemic? Like, people don't want to keep. But it's weird to me because I'm like, yeah, we're in a pandemic, but all of these sneakers are selling out. So you know what I'm saying? It's like somebody's buying these sneakers. Somebody has money. So it's like if I'm a sneaker company, it's like, hey, listen, they're buying them. You know what I'm saying? It's not like these sneakers are sitting on the shelves. They're still selling out, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic. So, why would they stop it? But a lot of the collabs that they've been doing, it's like almost like anybody could get a collab now. And that's the only thing I'm kind of concerned about with a few of these shoe companies, because it's like, I don't think everybody should have their own shoe. You know what I mean? Like, if every athlete can't have a signature shoe, I don't know why this random person that just has, however many followers on a social media account could have his own Nike. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And going back to what you said about like the shopping and sneakers selling out during quarantine, like I haven't listened to today's episode, but listening to Wednesday's episode of the Joe Budden Podcast, you guys were talking about like, Azalea Banks and other people on social media, like showing real signs of like, mental anguish lately. And we've talked about it on this podcast where I honestly feel that like, at least me personally, and a lot of people I know during this quarantine and pandemic, I have been buying a lot more, and I had said that I think the buying is making us feel better.
Yeah, you know what? For me, it's actually the opposite, man. Like I think we spoke about it on the show, and I was like, as a result of the quarantine and everything, I realized that I really spend more than I have to. I really, have more than enough. Like I don't even. It's like a lot of the things I'm looking at, like I'm looking at trying to get rid of sneakers. I'm looking at trying to get rid of clothes, like, because a lot of the things I look at, I'm like, I could have, 300, 400 pair of sneakers, and I really, truly, honestly only wear like consistently maybe 12 pair.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I have all these Jordan 1s, and I really only wear like 5 of them.
We've been arguing about that on here.
Like, I'm just... Yeah, it's like this. It just doesn't make any sense. Like when you sit back, and especially with the quarantine, all you had was time to really sit back and analyze. And I'm like, okay, now that I can't go nowhere, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at all of these sneakers and all of these clothes, and I'm like, I've never worn half of this stuff. Some of this stuff I've only worn once, and I might not ever wear again. Like, why do I have all of this stuff just sitting here? You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to me. And I say that, and I just bought 3 pairs of sneakers 2 days ago. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's just crazy, man. Like, it's just, I think we're just creatures of habit. And I think that we like to just have something just in case sometimes. Like, just in case I go somewhere, let me have these sneakers available. Or I could wear these. Or in case these sneakers are like a classic sneaker 2 years from now, like I could say I have these already in my closet. Like, it's just weird. But a lot of things that we feel like we need, we really don't, man. Like, it's just something to just say we have. And I'm trying to get away from that. Like, I'm trying to just... That's why I said I don't really chase sneakers. I don't chase releases. I don't chase the hot moment, because I know that even the dunks, like the chunky dunkies, I wore those once. And I really honestly just thought a few days ago, like, I might not ever wear this sneaker again.
Yeah, I mean...
Honestly, like, I really was looking at them like, I just don't know if I'll ever put this sneaker on again. I think it's a great shoe. I think it's like a one of the shoes that people look at like that was one of the the wildest collabs. But as far as wearing it, like actually putting it on, I don't think. I just can't see if I'll ever wear that again.
Well, what 3 sneakers you just bought?
I got the all silver ones.
Oh, okay.
The Japans. I think that's called Japan.
Yeah.
I got the satin ones.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And
we had an argument about that shoe. I think it's better than he thinks it is. I mean, to me, it's just a Chicago one that's slightly changed. Like, I've heard so many people say it's trash. It's like, it just is. You know what I mean? It's not trash or fire. It's just a shoe.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the colorway, yeah. But I think that, I like the fact that the satin on the inside and the satin tongue, to me, just kind of makes it a little fly. And then with the snakeskin on the back, it's like you might could throw those on if you're going on a nice, to a nice restaurant for dinner. Like, that's just like a nice sneaker to throw on if you're going to one of those spots where you don't even, you just tip the waiter $200 or something like that.
Well, dang. I mean, I guess. I mean, look, I get it.
Don't let Greg fool you. He's out here spending bags on stuff.
He's lying. We have no money.
Yeah, you gotta drink. You gotta make sure wherever you wear the satins, you gotta be drinking wine that night.
You know what's crazy is that, like, you talk about like the sneakers and stuff like that, like the spending money, because I think personally for myself, I just enjoy knowing lately with the quarantine.
But like, it's not even sneakers though. There's the thing you posted today, trading cards. Crazy right now. Hats. Crazy. It makes no sense.
And like I said, I think...
People camping for hats.
People were camping at Walmart for basketball cards. I didn't even know Me and you had a talk this morning about a Mickey Mantle card. I don't understand anything anymore. Now, with me personally, I enjoy having 5 tracking numbers in my phone to see where it's coming at. Like... I do, because it does sometimes make me feel better, and I am still in the mindset. Arizona's been one of the worst hits. I mean, obviously New York was really bad, but Arizona has been the worst with the pandemic as of like the few months. And I'm still in the mindset that like, let me build up this stuff and keep. First of all, you feel like you have to buy everything because, like you said, it does sell out. But I feel like I'm saving it for something grander once this is all over.
Right. Yeah, it's like I'm telling you, you're going to sit back and you're going to have that moment where you be like, yo, I absolutely spent all of this money for no reason.
And with like the price of sneakers,
you have more than you need. Trust me, you have way more than you need. Way more than you need.
Like my sister-in-law, she she loves buying Gucci and all these super duper expensive ones. And it's funny because she's like, oh yeah, these ones were like $550, and I'm like, oh yeah, so were these Air Max ones. These were $480. I had to pay for it, and that's what we've gotten right now. Do you see like any? Oh no, I'm sorry. There's another question I want to ask you. And this is a music related question, real quick. I had a discussion with some friends this morning, and I said, "Oh man, this would be great having Maul on the podcast today." I have a friend Los. He has his own podcast called The Bread and Butter. Talks music and sneakers, and I have another sneaker podcast, which is actually based in New York, Soul Searching. We're talking about music, and we were talking about Dave East, right? And I was saying, you don't got to, have any judgment on the music or not, because I don't know if you know him personally or anything like that. But I had said that, like, I think we get caught up in, like, really liking somebody so much that we think we like their music. Do you kind of agree with that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially it's a lot of people that, you root for just because you like them as a person. I mean, you may not really like their music, and their music doesn't have much replay value and things like that, but because you like the person, what I mean? It's
right.
I'm gonna root for this person. I hope, I want them to have the #1 album in the country, but I don't know if I'll ever, play it and listen to it in the car or play it when, company comes over. It's not that type of music that you want, but you like the person. Same thing with athletes. A lot of these athletes, you like them, but you'll never buy their signature shoe. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. Like you like the artist, but you probably won't ever stream their music because you just like, it's not for me. I don't really like their music, but I think it's he's a dope person. I like what he stands for. I like what he represents. I like his story, where he comes from, but the actual art and the way he creates is just not for you. And it's nothing wrong with it. It's subjective. Music is a matter of opinion.
Right.
And, a lot of the times I have these conversations with people and they're like, damn, man, but why you was shitting on? I'm like, hey, I'm not shitting on the person. A lot of these people I don't know personally. And like I said, when I'm on the show, my intent is never to disrespect anybody or, offend anybody. It's like, if you ask me if I like this record and I don't, I'm going to tell you I don't. Like, it has nothing to do with the artist. I don't know. It's not a personal attack. It's, I listened to this album. I listened to this record. It wasn't really for me. I wasn't really feeling it. But, again, I like this person. I think the person is a great person. I like it, what they stand for. But the music is just not for you. And there's nothing wrong with that.
You know what? That's a good point that you just made, because with LeBron, so like there was this large block of time where like nobody was wearing any basketball sneakers anymore. And like we kind of talked about, a LeBron sneaker is clearly built for a man that's 6'8", 280 pounds. It's essentially a construction boot. Like, it's a big shoe, okay?
Right.
So, like, when, you see, like, LeBron right now, like, how socially conscious he is, how he's opened up the school in Ohio, how he does so many things, I had said that I will always buy a LeBron sneaker every single year from now on, even if I wear it or not, because I like him and what he does, and I want to support him where I can. I know, and I think, I hope, and I feel that if I buy his sneaker, that some of that money does go to some of the great things that he does.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I probably own only one pair of LeBrons. I think it's a pair of South Beaches that I have. I never for whatever reason, like you said, it's just a bulky shoe.
Right. You
can't really get fresh. With those sneakers. It's kind of just too big and bulky. But again, I love LeBron. It's an ongoing thing online where everybody thinks I hate LeBron. I don't like LeBron because I don't think he's better than Kobe or Mike.
Can't get jiggy with them shits, or
I laugh at that. Like, just because I don't think he's better than Mike or Kobe doesn't mean that I don't like him. I just don't think he's better than those two guys. But I love LeBron. I love everything he stands for. I love, his business model. I love the way he put his childhood friends on and put them in position of power. And I gotta salute that. Anytime a black man does that, I'm always rooting for them. But as far as the sneaker, I only own one pair of LeBrons. You know what I mean? But I love him. I love everything he stands for. I love his story. I love what he's about. I love how he gives back. I love his the way he plays. Like, he's one of the greatest ever. I love him, but his sneaker, not so much.
So you brought up Kobe, so that's a good segue, just real quick, to the NBA knowledge that you have, because I know you have a lot of insight. So you moved to the West Coast. Was it basketball related, or you were doing something in LA job related, or what was your move to the West Coast first?
Yeah, I was back and forth a lot, working with one of my homeboys at the time. He was in the league, so we would move around a lot, and we would spend every summer in LA. So that's why I spent a lot of my summers out west.
And as far as the NBA goes, did you ever have any connects in the league as far as like working with the league, or you just had like a personal friend who was a player and kind of helped him out?
Oh yeah, just a few. Yeah, never worked directly with the NBA. Just a few of my homeboys, played in the league and still in the league. So, it's a close knit circle. The NBA, the players, it's only a small group. So, if you know 10 players personally, you really know 200. That's how small the NBA is. So, it was a thing of that. It was never really nothing working with the NBA. Although I would have loved to have some type of job working with the NBA. I think they really need to tap into that type of department where they hire young creatives as far as marketing and things like that, because they're so tapped into our culture, and I think it just makes sense. But it's just strictly just homeboys that played in the league that I was helping and working with on a personal level.
Well, let me say this first. They definitely, sports leagues in general have definitely started stepping up their social media presence in terms of hiring creative, funny people or whatever to run their social accounts, because these team accounts now, like going back and forth, flaming each other, you never would have seen that even like last year, 2 years ago on social media. So I think they're starting to kind of grow that a little bit, where they start hiring creative people to work in those jobs, because they know, the eyeballs are on them on social media.
Listen, everything cool has to come through us. And, that's the thing that these and I mean that on every level. I don't care if it's just the NBA or anything that you're trying to sell or market to the world has to come through our culture. We make everything cool. It's not cool unless we say it's cool.
That's true. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about, you just brought it up a little bit, is you said that NBA is close-knit now. And the thing that, for me, not recently, but like we'll say 10 years ago, I was working like kind of like a side hustle with people following AAU hoops. So I've always been following recruiting closely, and that's something that all these players have like text threads with each other in high school. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. Yeah. The casual fan is you might have someone who grew up in St. Louis and someone who grew up in LA and someone in New York, and they best friends from AAU, travel ball, whatever else. And so when they get to the league, they might be playing against each other in the same division 4 games a season and be rivals, but after the game they go to dinner, they're best friends or whatever. It's crazy how tight-knit the league is, like you say. And that didn't happen 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah, like even a lot of these dudes now, you look at like a Ja Morant and Zion, these dudes grew up together, like literally. And to now see them, on the NBA level doing what they're doing, it just shows you that there's a thing that's happening now where a lot of these kids coming from the same neighborhoods, and that they're really making it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're really like deciding early, like, yo, listen, we're gonna do this. Like, we're really gonna push this all the way. We're gonna push each other, and we're gonna stay on top of each other, make sure that we both achieve our goals and achieve our dreams. I think it's dope, man. I think it's, it just shows that, together, we can achieve more. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can, if it's like steel sharpens steel. If we both play ball and we from the hood, and we have this dream of, we're gonna push each other and we're gonna make sure we stay on the right track. We're not gonna get sidetracked and end up doing nothing stupid to derail our dreams. I think it's dope that a lot of these young kids are sticking together. I just think that, sometimes I'm a little fed up with a lot of these Instagram pages that like to put these highlight clips together of some of these kids, because sometimes it gives you a false sense of who these kids are. No, honestly, like, it gives you a false sense. Like, I follow a lot of these Instagram, basketball pages, and, see a lot of these young kids hooping, and I'm like, like, damn, like, this kid is nice. Like, they showing all these highlights. And then, you start digging deeper and you go look into what he did during his season in high school and he only averaged 6 points. So it's like, wait a minute. Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm getting a false sense. Like, I thought this kid was really good. He jumping out the gym and, he's spinning off the defender and looking the other way and passing by. He's doing all of this, but then you go look at his numbers and he only averages 6 points.
Well, so one of the things we were talking about the other day is just how all these new social, and maybe they're not new, but the newest thing on social media is using that eyes emoji anytime they think something fire happens, a spin move or dribble through the legs or whatever. Like, what was the one we were talking about the other day? It was like an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, stop making this corny content that like you only doing to get clicks and likes. Like that player is not. He's 8 years old.
I feel you. No, trust me. I understand what you mean. Like, I got caught up in it. And a lot of the kids that I saw with these highlight clips. But like I tell people, I've never seen anybody look bad on the highlight clip. That's not what it's for. It's supposed to make you look good. It's supposed to make you look good. It's just that I really grew up, around basketball in the inner city in New York. Like, I really, it just breaks my heart that a lot of the dudes that I grew up with in high school that were really good, they didn't have these platforms, like to really get them out there and get their talents out there. But, it's a different era, and I understand it. I like the fact that these kids have something to look forward to. And, even if it's a highlight clip that then they go viral for the week and now they're the man on their block. Like, it's fun. You know what I'm saying? It's a moment. I just know not to get caught up in it too much because half of the time, a lot of these kids are not really that good.
Yeah, and I think that's like with social media and influence, like on your guys' podcast, you guys, Joe, Rory, you, Parks, you guys give out a lot of like unintentional, well, you guys are like, you give out this advice that a lot of people might not catch and pick up when it comes to like music or how to carry yourself or things like that, and things and ideas you guys have. And, I don't know if it's like reciprocated or like, you guys are reached out to by companies or anything like that. But like a lot of the times, like you said, like, social media and everything like that, it gives this like false sense of like something that really isn't happening. And it goes like with sneakers and stuff like that too as well. Like, we've had a discussion about Travis Scott and Nike and Dunk SBs. Like, he wears one and it shifts by thousands of dollars on a price of a sneaker. And I always worry that like the people that are making these shifts are the ones who probably shouldn't be spending $1,000 on a sneaker. Now, you buy it, it makes you dope. And like you said, with like a highlight clip, like I had posted this kid was doing, first of all, every dribble move.
And it was a layup.
Yeah.
It ended with a layup.
Every single dribble move he did was illegal. Like none of that would have fly, like whatsoever. But it could give him the opportunity to get a look somewhere or whatever the case may be. Do you worry that like with social media and sometimes even podcasts and influence, it could steer and direct people in the wrong direction?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But see, the one thing about, sports is I don't care how many viral clips you have and how many followers you have on social media and all of this. Like when you get on that court, if you don't perform like people think you can, it'll humble you. A lot of these kids, they walk into these AAU tournaments and they have all these followers and all of this, and they, a couple of their games went viral, but it's like, but if you come out here and, now it's a target on you because now these other kids are looking at you oh yeah, he went viral for this dunk or, this crossover, whatever. But it's like, now you got to come out here and play me. So now we're going to see if you really about all of that viral clip, you know what I mean? And again, people got to be careful because I tell people all the time, social media is only real for 4 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Right. And after that, it's like, it's not real. You know what I mean? And people aspire to go viral. And, I'm telling people like, you need to worry about going viral in real life, not just on social media. Do something to impact your community. You know what I'm saying? You can start on the small scale. Just do something to impact your community. You know what I mean? Like put trash cans outside the building so the homies don't be throwing garbage on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Like just little things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like helping older people, with their groceries or helping somebody, up the stairs with some heavy bags and stuff like that. Like just do things like that. Do real things, man. Like everybody living to, go viral and be on social media. And, it's not real, man. You got to do things in your community and for your people first.
So that's a good point, because there are, just knowing the travel ball circuit, there are a lot of dogs out there who will get you if you have the rep and you don't show up that day. And you can see it in the NBA. Look at CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum had zero hype coming out of high school. And I mean, look at him now.
Ball.
Right.
And you can name 10, 15 guys like that. You know what I mean?
You know what? Then I'm gonna ask you that too. Go ahead.
You said CJ. Shit, look at Dame. Dame didn't really have a lot of hype coming.
Yeah, he went to Weber State. Well, so I went to a school that was in the same conference, the Big Sky Conference. So I've been watching Dame since he was like a freshman in college. So anytime someone talks about Dame, and he's from Oakland, I'm from California. He's a Raider fan. I'm a Raider fan. So there's like almost a personal feeling for me. At the same time, I had an argument the other day about him and Curry. Like, he's not on Curry's level, at least for a career. But I love Dame. I'm the biggest Dame, like, outside of Portland fans. I'm a big Dame fan.
And you guys had Dame on the podcast, and Dame is one of them cats that, like, I feel like it's really rare to see somebody like Dame who, I mean, I feel like Dame is Dame all the time. He keeps it real 100% of the time. A lot of people.
He's from Oakland. So
he's from Oakland. Like, and I'm from the Bay Area as well. And, like, him having the 0 on his jersey, people think that's a 0. No, he has it for an O for Oakland. But I will ask you this, as a Laker fan, and I support the Lakers a lot because I am from California, but I really don't have an NBA team. How many?
Wait. Okay, I was gonna say before you remember your question, because I was gonna ask actually how the Laker fandom started. I think we got to talk about that first before you ask an actual Laker question.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? How many?
Or together.
Well, okay, fine. How did you become such a big Laker fan, being from New York?
Oh man, for me it was Magic. It was Magic Johnson growing up. I was never super athletic. A lot of my game when I played basketball, all of my game was below the rim. So I always like making the good pass, like the pretty pass, or making an open shot. Like I was never, it wasn't gonna be too many posters for me growing up. So it was Magic. It was that style of basketball. It was exciting. Then being from New York, the point guard position in New York is like the golden position. Like we produce a lot of talented point guards out of the city, and so Magic was it for me. And then and then it was Kobe after Magic. You know what I mean? For me, it was Mike too. With the Bulls, obviously you had to be. If you're not a fan of basketball, if you grew up in the '90s, wasn't a fan of Jordan.
Yeah, right.
But it was Magic and Mike for me growing up, man. So the Laker thing, like I tell people, like I'm not a bandwagon Laker fan. Like we had our years of being doormats, man. Like we had our years
playoffs in what, 10 years or 8 years or something?
It was tough for us, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I would tell you this, and like whoever you do have the opportunity to ask as a Laker fan, I would probably suggest you hit up your contacts and ask for Kobe's this month, because Kobe's that are coming out this month are going to be, I'm talking hot commodities.
Yeah. Oh, I have them for sure. I have them because, like I said, I'm a huge Kobe fan.
Well, you're probably also an Undefeated guy, I would imagine, since you've been on the West Coast so much. Undefeated is big time on the West Coast, so.
Yeah. I'm in tune with Undefeated. But yeah, I just Kobe, man. Anything Kobe for me, I'm in. You can count me in on it.
So, how many games does it take for the Blazers to beat the Lakers?
Man, I was texting Dame a few days ago, and I was just telling him, I'm like, yo, man, we rooting for you. Like, we need that. I need that Lakers Portland matchup. And I spoke to my boy Trevor Reza. I was kind of mad at him because he didn't go to the bubble. Family, he had family things to take care of, which I totally understand. But I was telling him, I was like, y'all had something special. Like it could have been real special. But again, I still think the Blazers in position. It's just hard for me to count out LeBron and AD. I just think that I don't know. It's going 7 games. I feel like it's going to go 7 games.
Really?
It will.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know what it is with that. Go ahead. Bubble, man. But I just feel like if you're a shooter in that bubble, I think that gym just feels like you're working out. I don't think it feels like a real game. It feels like more like a workout. Like you can just go in there and just roll the ball out and just go get a bucket. You know what I mean? And that's why I was kind of upset about Jamal Crawford getting hurt, because he was somebody I thought was going to really thrive in the bubble with Brooklyn. His style of play, his game is like, it's designed for this type of game where you can just get up and down and go get a bucket. And I don't think the Lakers have enough outside shooters, man. I don't think they have enough shooters to, if you're asking me to rely on Danny Green, and Danny Green has made some tough shots in the playoffs. He's a champion with the Raptors,
right?
But I don't think that he can knock down shots consistently enough to, with CJ and Dame and Gary Trent now making all the shots. And I think Melo now is I think he feels like he has something to prove this year in the playoffs. So I think he's going to show up big for the Blazers, man. I think he's going to show up really big for the Blazers. It's going to be interesting, man. Like I said, I got it going 7. It's hard for me to go against LeBron and AD. I'm a Lakers fan, but I'm a realist. I just don't believe in the Lakers bench enough. I think they have a lot of holes in their roster. Obviously LeBron and AD is, if you could start a franchise and build it around those two, you in good shape. But
fam, they have
I think they're just going to run into a team. They're going to run into a scrappy Blazers team that's just hungry, man. So it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be interesting. I got it going 7. I don't know, man. I can't pick a winner, but it's going 7 games, and we just going to have to see.
So you were talking about the Lakers having holes in the roster, and I was just gonna make a joke. It's not gonna be funny now because it's too late, but they definitely have 2 holes on the roster, and it's black holes, and it's Dion Waiters and
J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith. Them cats, boy, when they got the bubble, woo!
Yeah. And see,
man, I just. You know what, man? And again, I'm happy JR got picked up, because I do think
everyone loves him. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I think he has game left. He deserves to be on the NBA roster,
of course,
as well as Dion Waiters. I just don't think that they had enough time to gel and really click with this team. So I think that's going to hurt them.
Losing.
And again, man, the Blazers, Dame Lillard, Dame is he's out to prove something, man. And it's dangerous when somebody that's the 2K cover athlete feels like he has to prove himself. Like
but for this,
that's dangerous, man. Like, because that goes to show you that he's not, he's showing us that, okay, y'all want me to turn it up on another notch? I can. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what he's doing.
Well, here's the thing with we talked about with me and George were talking about on the last episode of our podcast. We talked about sports, and I said it's really difficult for a team like the Lakers, because the Lakers are the Lakers. They're called Showtime for a reason, and they feed off a crowd. This bubble is showing it's showing basketball. Dame.
Pump the brakes. The bubble meant nothing for the Lakers. They already knew they were going to be the 1 seed.
You're right. They knew that, but still, you're going
to see a different team. Trust
LeBron's energy is feeding off the crowd. When they originally said that,
you're not wrong, but the bubble didn't count. I'm just telling you.
I'm saying it matters because it's a variable. Because when they originally said that they were going to possibly play without fans, LeBron was the very first person to say, "I'm not playing." At first, when he said that,
the first day
he feeds off that. Now, somebody like the Blazers and somebody
but also
like
he
Melo,
knows better that he knows that. It's not only that about the feeding out the fans thing. It's about he's an elder statesman. He's been in the league so long now that he knows you're in an entertainment industry. It's fun just being an NBA player and having fans there, not even just feeding off the energy, but he knows people come to the game to see him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he to me, it seemed like he felt bad that fans couldn't show up.
Oh, yeah. Now, them being able to allow family and kids and stuff like that to the playoffs right now is phenomenal. But, I look at teams like the Blazers, Dame doesn't care who's there. He's going to prove. He cares about us, the stranger that's on the internet saying Dame isn't that good. Dame will go out there and score 60 just because a complete stranger in Wyoming said Dame isn't that good.
Do you remember Dame's performance against the Lakers on Kobe night?
That's one reason why I said the game is going to go to 7, because Dame went into LA on Kobe night.
I remember where I watched that game.
Yeah, I was up at the cabin. Dame went into LA on Kobe night and slapped the Lakers around. Now, you can say the Lakers were having a hard time emotionally and stuff like that. You can, but
it wasn't happening that night.
Right.
For them.
Now, somebody like Melo has been under a lot of pressure the last few years just to get back into the league and stuff like that. Pressure to perform in front of New York. Pressure to just perform, period. He has nothing to lose. Now, Melo is out there shooting the ball and playing basketball. I am so worried about the Lakers. It's not even funny. Like, the Lakers are in a serious trouble. I mean, the Blazers balled out. That game today was everything we expected. I know you watched that game, all.
Yeah, I've been saying the Lakers are in trouble for like a week now, and everybody keeps cursing me out, telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. But again, everything y'all saying is stuff. I look at. When I tweet things, and I think people think that I'm talking about what's going on at the moment, and they don't realize that I've been watching this Blazers team all year. And like you said, they went into the Staples Center Kobe night, rest in peace. And, what Dame did that night, that let me know, that if the Lakers had to meet this team in the playoffs, this wasn't going to be easy for this Lakers team. And that's when I say the Lakers are in trouble, it was because it was starting to look like, okay, the Blazers are going to get that AC, and they're going to have to play the Lakers. And Dame is not, he's not scared of nobody. And, this team, I feel like this team, it's just something about them, looking at them out there. They believe that they're better than the number 8 seed, and that they probably are. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're the 8 seed, but they're not an 8 seed team. And I think that's what people are getting confused. They think that the Lakers are playing the AC team, and it's like, no, they're playing a team that's the AC, but they're not an AC team.
And see,
well, hold on a second. I just wanted to add this earlier. You were talking about the bubble being the maybe the crux for the Lakers. I think the biggest issue for them is they ended up getting Portland, and Avery Bradley's not on the team anymore because he opted out, which I'm totally fine with. If someone is worried about their health, they're the only person who can be concerned about their health. No one else can. Like, I'm a big Dodger fan. David Price, they just got in the Mookie Betts trade. He opted out. I tweeted, I'm 100% fine. You're worried about yourself and your family. I get it. But I think losing Avery Bradley when he's the best wing defender in the league and you playing Dame, that's going to be the problem, not the bubble.
They're going to have to
it's I was completely wrong because when the bubble first came about, I was saying that I thought LeBron was going to do everything that Dame is doing. I said LeBron in the bubble, no fans, he can just go out there hoop. It's like he's in the gym working out. I thought everything that Dame is doing is what I thought LeBron was going to do.
But I think you're going to see that now, though. I think he didn't care because they didn't need to. They knew they were going to be the 1 seed.
Yeah, but
no, I can't. You see, it can't. A lot of people saying that too, and I'm just like, they have to care not so much about seeding, but it's like we had some time off. So like we have to go out here and gel. We have to go out here and communicate and play well, and we have to get in playoff form quick. We only have however many games before the playoffs, so we need to take each one of these games seriously and get back in game shape, because during the quarantine everybody was away and they kind of had their own personal trainers, and LeBron is always he's always going to be physically in shape, but now you're talking about the team being the rhythm, the timing, and then everybody being in the right spots. It's like that's what you have to worry about. Then you have new pieces that you have to get accustomed to. Deion Waiters, J.R. Smith. You have pieces that are out. Avery Bradley, Rondo. So it's like it's a lot of adjustments. So when players say, when people say, the Lakers not worried about it, they got the number 1 seed locked. And I'm trying to tell you, it's not about that. It's about getting that chemistry back, because you only have a certain amount of games before the playoffs. And now when you look at a team like Portland, they have all their chemistry clicking right now.
And that's why.
Okay, I can buy that argument.
Yeah, and that's why, that's the thing with LeBron. Like, LeBron is the only athlete that I could say 100% during the quarantine I still saw working out fully. Not to say nobody else was, but like, we see how hard LeBron works. So I was like, oh man, he about to show. Y'all might have been relaxed and laid up, but I haven't been, and he hasn't shown that. But like I said, it could be a new game, it could not be. But Dame is something different, and I'm glad he's getting that notoriety and that look. Who do you think is coming out the East?
I love Dame, man. I love Dame. Huh?
Love him. Who do you think coming out the East?
Man, the East, it's tough, man. I like Milwaukee, but Toronto, man, they still got Kawhi's DNA over there. So it's, yeah, like I tell people all the time, like, that to me, that's why Kawhi is arguably the best player in the NBA. He won a championship on his rehab year with a team he didn't even want to play for.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? So it's like when you do that, it's like, all right, and I don't think a lot of people know he has the highest winning percentage of any player in NBA history right now. So it's a lot of things, man. I got Milwaukee, but Toronto's gonna be right there, and my dark horse in the East, Kimba with some shooters and scorers around him is gonna be tough to beat.
I got Miami.
Boston's gonna be tough. I like Tatum, and I need people to start speaking about Jaylen Brown as much as they speak about Jason Tatum too. I don't know why people like to leave Jaylen Brown out of that conversation when they talk about Boston. He's one of the best. To me, he might be the most underrated player in the NBA.
I think the reason is the one playoffs. I don't know if it was his rookie year or the next year. He put it together in that playoff run where they took Cleveland to 7 games or 6 games or whatever.
Balling.
Eastern Conference. I can't even speak.
Mm-hmm.
Eastern Conference Finals. Good Lord. And then the next regular season, everyone expected him to go to the next level, and he didn't.
He didn't have a good season.
Yes, I think that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people kind of jumped off the bandwagon a little bit. But you're right. I remember watching him in college at Cal. Like, we're West Coast guys, so I watch the Pac-12 a lot. So
The thing with Miami is, not Miami with and I have Miami coming out. I think that's I surprised him to come out, or the Raptors, but I love Miami.
You have Miami coming out of the East?
I do. Miami is a really good team who hasn't changed one bit since going back in the bubble. They have been consistent, worked hard, and they have every single piece that you would want on a team. They got some shooters. They got Jimmy Butler. They got a great rookie. They got a great center. They have all the tools, and people are overlooking them. Like, I think people need to pay attention to them.
So hold on. I just
don't think they can beat Milwaukee or Toronto 4 times.
I don't know.
Let me just piggyback on something that Maul said like a couple minutes ago, but he was talking about Toronto still having that Kawhi energy. You want to talk about, like I was mentioning earlier, dogs in basketball where they're not highly rated and then they come out and eat you up. That team, 100% is a dog. I mean, their entire roster is like guys who were under the radar.
What team is this?
Toronto. They have I can't think of one guy on the roster. I mean, I guess if you go far enough down, like Stanley Johnson was like a top 5 college or high school recruit coming out, but like their main players, none of them are.
My young boy.
Oh, I love Stanley. He went to Arizona, so.
The Raptors are proof that, I really give a lot to Nurse, the coach. Like, I talk about those teams all the time. Like, I believe in coaching, and I believe in, players who listen to the coach. These are a lot of players on the Raptors are people that, okay, I'm going to listen to you, and I'm going to take your lead and keep going. And that's what they're doing. One of the issues I have with the Celtics is, the Celtics have never not had a star. Like, Tatum and Kimba are stars, but, they're really quiet stars. You know what I mean? Like, the Celtics just kind of seem like they're just under the radar. Like, they just kind of there. I keep forgetting how good they are.
Yeah. They, I don't know, man. Again, man, the East is up in the air. It's because I'm thinking about Miami now, and they do have a good team. Again, I don't know if it could beat Toronto or Milwaukee 4 times. To see, with Philadelphia, man, with Ben going down, that was just tough because I really thought that this was going to be their opportunity to kind of get to the Eastern Conference Finals again and possibly, go to 7 games. But with Ben not there, that's pretty much over with.
I was going to ask you to, is there anything, and going back to sneakers, whatever, I was going to ask you, is there anything you're kind of looking forward to, or is it just, like you said, you see it, you love it, you buy it?
Anything I'm looking forward to? Not really, man. I'm more interested to see what's the next. As far as current players, who's going to have the next iconic shoe? I think that's what I'm looking forward to right now. I want to see which one of these players that have a signature shoe is going to create and design the shoe that is the next, okay, this is a classic. You know what I mean? Because right now it's just players are just putting out their signature shoes, but it just feels like it's no real feeling of art to it to me. Like with a lot of these sneakers, it's just it's another sneaker and, here, take it. If not, whatever. It's nothing that says this is going to be something that, another player that's coming up, he's going to wear this shoe one day. And, what I mean? People are like, oh, damn, I remember when that shoe first came out. I haven't seen that type of sneaker yet. So yeah, I want to see one of these new young players, man. I want to see them, even get on the creating side and design their own shoe, design something that's timeless. Like a lot of these sneakers now are just moments. It's just like just for right now. It's nothing that's a timeless sneaker. You know what I mean? And I'm looking for that timeless, like the Penny Hardaways is timeless. You know what I mean? Like you see players to this day wearing pennies. Obviously the Jordans. You know what I mean? It's like it's a lot of sneakers that I'm just looking at like, okay, that's cool for the moment, but I don't know if any players are gonna want to, that's in elementary or high school right now are gonna come to the league and want to wear that sneaker. Like I don't see any of those really. I thought at one point, I think who was it? It wasn't Paul George. It was somebody that had one sneaker that I thought was pretty fly, but that kind of came and went. But yeah, I just want one of these new players to just create a classic shoe, man. Create something that's iconic. Create something that lasts more than 2 seasons. Like I want to see something like that.
What did you think of Cole's shoe? I know it's a Puma, and a lot of people don't ain't on the Puma bandwagon and whatnot. We all are in consensus here that it's fire.
Oh yeah, with J. Cole. I mean.
Oh yeah, I got the J. Cole sneaker. It's really comfortable. Like a really, really comfortable. I still can't believe that's a basketball sneaker, but it's super comfortable.
You think it's too low for a basketball shoe, or?
You said what?
Yeah, I said you think it's too low for a basketball shoe, or what did you mean when you said you're surprised as a
I don't think it's too low, man. I think I remember Steve Nash saying a few years ago, he plays soccer and they do more cutting side to side than any sport, and they wear cleats that are lower than those. So
yeah,
it doesn't really it's not really about it being a low shoe because that doesn't really matter anymore. I just think that it's just interesting to see J. Cole have a shoe. You know what I mean? I don't think any of us ever looked at J. Cole for fashion.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Nobody ever has.
I mean, I love J. Cole, but I never cared about what was on his feet or,
never.
I never looked at him and said, oh, this is, I like the way he put that outfit together. I love J. Cole, but his image, he doesn't really, I think in fact he goes against that. He doesn't really care about his image. You know what I'm saying? He's more so about his art and what he's creating and letting that speak for him. But I think it's dope that Cole got a sneaker. You know what I mean? To me, that was like, oh, okay, I didn't expect that. That came out of like left field, but they actually did a good job. Puma's really been doing a good job with reinventing their shoe and their model, man. I think that what they're doing with the league, I know Kuzma is a Puma athlete now.
Right.
R.J. Barrett in New York is a Puma athlete, I believe. So they got a few players that they're grabbing up that they're trying to push this Puma basketball thing, but I think they're on to the right track. I like what they're doing. They're still trying to keep the old Puma look, but just add some things to it to make it more durable and more athletic. But I like it. I like what they're doing. I like what Puma's doing.
I had a quick question real quick because like you were talking about with J. Cole, like with J. Cole, same thing. We like J. Cole. We like him. We like his music. We like, he's never been boisterous or out there. I've never, ever in a million years, I've never thought, what is J. Cole rocking? This is the first time I ever seen, like, I see him wearing the sneaker, like, oh, them is fire. And the sneaker is fire. My issue with Puma and stuff is that, I think they're advertising it way too much as a basketball sneaker with J. Cole. Like, I think like a lot of the advertising and stuff like that, they showed him hooping. And I was like, okay, I get it, but I don't need to see J. Cole look like he's preparing to actually play basketball. But like you were talking.
Have you seen the have you seen the cover of the box? Have you seen the art on the box?
Yeah. Well, so you didn't buy it, right, Greg?
No, I didn't buy it.
Okay, so I bought it. Color. And Greg can tell you I bought it on the release from Puma, and it didn't come with the Dreamer box. And I've been texting him literally a week straight, angry about why the regular release pair didn't come with and it's just the influencer pair got the Dreamer box.
Yeah, I got the Dream. It's just funny. I laughed at the box for like 10. They really tried to turn Cole into like the NBA logo. That's
what I don't understand. Like.
They really got Cole, like, just his image and his dreads, like, flying, like, he's cutting baseline on the dribble. Like, it's just, I was like, this is crazy. But, again, I love Cole, man, so I'm happy for him. But it's just funny, man, to see that Cole has he has a basketball shoe.
It does, and you know, like you said with Kuzma, like Kuzma had made that, you know, game-winning shot the other week, and he had shouted out J. Cole for the basketball sneaker. And I texted George and I said, George, we got actual basketball players shouting out rappers for their basketball sneaker. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like,
It's crazy, man.
It's not how it works.
Crazy.
Now
It's a crazy time.
Now going back to like what you said about like you've never looked at J. Cole that way. It's been rumored, and which George and I haven't talked about it yet. It's been rumored that Steph Curry with Under Armour is going to possibly have his own line, sort of like Jordan brand of sneakers. Now, I don't feel like Under Armour has done this phenomenal job with Curry's sneaker within itself.
Puma made one shoe with Cole that was better than any shoe that Curry made. I mean,
right?
But like working for 10 years or whatever.
So, do you see somebody like an athlete like a Curry, if any athlete whatsoever, which I think a lot of people would probably say LeBron, do you see any athlete playing now that could possibly have something that Jordan Brand built in the future?
Oh, man, that's tough. That's I don't know.
I think LeBron.
Jordan. See, the thing about Jordan, like I was looking at. You go back to The Last Dance, right? And you listen to what Nike's expectations were when they signed Jordan. It was like, yo, we want to make $3 million at the end of 4 years, and then in the first year they made $126 million.
Right.
So it's like, you know, when you think about that for a second, and like the company itself only was looking forward to making $3 million off of this shoe in 4 years, and in the first year they made $126 million. That doesn't happen if Mike isn't Mike. You know what I mean? Like if you go out there and he's just not playing well and he's not doing anything, like those sneakers don't sell like that.
Right.
And I don't think that, you know, a lot of these players, you know, you talk about Steph Curry, you know, and what he was doing, it's not a cultural thing. The Jordan sneaker was a cultural thing. Like they were in movies, you know, you've seen a lot of actors were doing commercials with Mike, a lot of entertainers were doing commercials with Mike. I don't see a lot of that with these entertainers doing these things with these athletes. Like, and if they are, they're not wearing the athlete sneaker. They're just hanging out with them. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not really like, yo, I have to have this shoe. Like nobody's running around saying they have to have the Steph Curry.
Right.
And nobody's running around saying that they have to have the Paul George or they have to have the Kyrie or they have to have. So it's, you know, I as of right now, I mean, you know, Curry, he's a winner. He's a champion. You know, he's probably arguably now in the conversation for greatest point guards of all time. It's like if he can't have that type of sneaker with all of the success on the court, I don't know if he'll ever have it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So it's just I don't see it. I don't see it happening with any of these athletes anytime soon. I don't think that there are any athletes that, you know, are in a position to where they can have an impact on the culture the way Jordan did. I just don't see it. I
think that Jordan point is a little bit, and they talked about it during the what was the name of the documentary? I already forgot. Last Dance. So it was almost like a perfect storm. He signed with Nike at that point was a brand new company. The only things they were doing was track and field. So it was a perfect storm where he went to the Bulls. Their colors are black, red, and white, which is easy to make that shoe match with a million different things. And they made it was like perfect storm. It's hard to explain. You know what I mean? Like they made a shoe.
It was a perfect storm, but it's also a thing of it's a cultural moment. You know what I mean? Like what Mike did, he literally elevated the entire NBA.
Right. And I think that's part of it too.
So I don't think any of these athletes, none of these athletes are bigger than the NBA when they came in. Maybe
right. LeBron maybe.
When LeBron came in, maybe he was that athlete that kind of was in a position to take the NBA to another level. But I just don't think that the sneaker was cool enough.
Right. And I think what you just said about Jordan, I think is part of my perfect storm is like he was the third pick, you know, right? Third pick, right?
Third pick.
Okay, yeah. I don't know why I went blank on that for a minute, but he was the third pick. So when he had his first practice with the Bulls, they already could tell like, oh, he's our best player already. But obviously the rest of the NBA didn't think that because at that point it was a big man league. If there's an elite big man, you pick him first. You know what I mean? So I think Jordan doing that his rookie year was part of the perfect storm in that he just has the DNA that no one else has. I mean, the league hadn't seen anything like that. Like, yeah, Bernard King existed, Dr. J existed. There were some players who were wings who were really good, but he had the DNA. He was with the right team. You know, he went to a team where he was the best player in the first day of practice. So it just, for some reason,
It's
just
like
all came together.
Destiny, just aligning
Yeah, exactly.
stars.
Maybe that's a better word.
That's everything that That's what I said. That's everything that LeBron had.
Right.
I mean, when he went to Cleveland, there wasn't really no real culture of winning there. It wasn't, nobody even thought about really playing for the Cavs like that. Him being a hometown, he's from Akron, Ohio. It just, the story was there. Everything was lined up for it to be, a monumental, iconic moment, and which it is. And don't get it twisted. I still think that it was because I think he's surpassed all expectations. Honestly, even though he came in with so many expectations.
Oh yeah,
I think he played beyond what anybody could have ever even thought he would do.
Well,
again, I just think that the sneaker, the actual design and the style of the sneaker just wasn't cool enough.
Right. Yeah, and we talking about, and you guys talk about on your guys' show all the time, different eras of you think about like the musicians back in the day, rappers, entertainers back in the day, if they had to deal with everything you see on social media now, and then LeBron is the poster child of sports and social media as it is. It doesn't matter how great LeBron can be, you can find literally thousands and thousands of people that will hate his guts. I mean, which is crazy. Back in Jordan's era, the only people you might have had to be worried about who hated his guts was maybe like a few media people. And that
and the Knicks.
Yeah, and the Knicks.
The other teams did, but his teammates hated him too.
Yeah, the other teammates, so it's one of those things where dealing with the people way back then who hated your guts, you can okay, you hate my guts today on television. I turned it off. It's over with.
Yeah, social media
is forever, which is why. And LeBron's route to win championships and stuff was dramatically different than Jordan's and stuff. But I mean, that's the time that we're in, and it is what it is.
And I think also in this era now, these news media companies and outlets know that hot take is what sells. Like Skip Bayless, he's as highly paid as he is because he gets eyeballs. I mean, that's really what it is, and that's what sells in 2020 and whatever era we're in. Whereas what you're talking about in 83, 84, 85, it wasn't like that.
Right.
I mean, you hear?
Yeah, it wasn't.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You said what?
No, go ahead.
I couldn't hear you. You was cutting out.
Oh, no, I was saying that, even with, how Skip was with Dame, he's very disrespectful to Dame, the last few weeks. And it's man, chill. You're wild. And I get it. That's his job. It's part of his job. And I can't say he fully believes that, but it's just the business that we're in, right now.
Skip, you know what it is with Skip, man? I love Skip Bayless, man. He's
I do, too.
I genuinely think he's No, I do. I think he's a good person. I think he means well.
Right.
He's just doing his job. But Skip is one of those guys that, he'll be wrong 99 times, but the one time he's right, he's like, I told you. You know what I mean? It's but bro, you was just wrong 99 times. You know what I mean?
That's the best, though.
And people like that, it's a space for them in entertainment, and that's that's exactly what Skip Bayless is. He's very well versed in sports, though. He's been a sports writer for many years. He was an athlete, I believe, in college. So I like Skip. I think it's all about just understanding his point of view. You got to remember, Skip is the same guy that thought Tim Tebow was a great quarterback.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's you got to kind of just take what Skip says with a grain of salt and just know that he doesn't mean any real harm.
It's gambling. I have people that call me the Skip Bayless of sneakers all the time. Shout out to the homie Sock Jig. They say that about me. And because, I say things and I genuinely believe a lot of stuff I say, but I say that anybody who signs with Jordan Brand is cursed. We talk about Jordan and the stars aligning in his sneaker brand. It's just being such a cultural shift. I have literally done the research on all the athletes that are signed to Jordan Brand, and every basketball player who's been signed to Jordan Brand, there's only only Kawhi and Ray Allen who have won championships being under Jordan Brand. Most of the baseball players and football players who wear Jordan Brand cleats are way more successful than the basketball players that wear Jordan Brand. Now, of course, people think I'm a crazy person for saying stuff like that.
You are.
I mean, fam, I would never. Westbrook's on Jordan Brand. I would never sign to Jordan Brand because you could never, ever be Jordan. You could never live up or have a sneaker bottle that anybody would kill.
It's tough, man. You're right. I agree with you on that. If I'm a player, I don't know if I sign with Jordan Brand. I would probably do a thing where it's like, I want to wear all the classic J's, but make them in my colorway. You know what I mean? Like, I would do something like that. But to try to go there and create a shoe, nobody's gonna buy your shoe. No. Like, once you have the Jumpman on it, like, they're not gonna buy it. Then it's just that shadow of Mike is just way too big to try to stand next to. You just should be a part of it. Like, listen, just put me in all the classic J's. Make my colorway for whatever team I'm on, and we could do it like that.
That's how it all should be. I feel like any Jordan Brand athlete should just hoop in, like, make them more comfortable, maybe update them, but people should be hooping in Jordan.
Yeah, update them, tweak them a little bit. But a lot of these Jordan, like you said, Russ, and I love Russ.
Russ.
But I don't own any of his sneakers,
and will never.
You know what I mean? I've never even. Yeah, I've never even looked at owning a pair of Russ's sneakers. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. And it's it's Mike, man. That's why he's the greatest ever. It's like he did what he did on the floor, and he's dominating. The sneaker market every year since he's come out. Like, that's why he is who he is.
We have two more questions, and we're gonna let you go. We appreciate the time you've actually given us, but we're gonna let you go because I know you probably got things to do. You want to chill and relax, but you coming on here talking to us.
It's a Saturday night, man. The game is over. I ain't doing that, man. I'm in the crib.
You know what?
Pandemic times.
Like I told you, like, I'm a really big fan of the podcast, and a lot of people that listen to our podcast, they love your guys' podcast. I've always,
we got three questions because I got a question too, by the way.
You know what's funny is that, like, I listen to, like, you, Rory, and Parks, and I understand Joe. Like, Joe is one of those people that, like, he likes, I don't want to say likes to argue, but knows how to argue. That's, you know what I mean? And there are times that
Joe likes to argue. Joe, he secretly wants to be a lawyer. He likes to argue.
and I like to argue too. And
that's our whole show basically. So.
Yeah, and I've always said to myself, if I ever get to talk to Tamal or whatever in the podcast, I want to ask him, how difficult sometimes is it knowing that you and Rory might be right and Joe is completely wrong, but you guys got to let it roll sometimes?
Oh, let's be clear. I understand my position in the room at all times when I'm in the room with Joe. I know that he's going to try to paint me as the weird guy. He's going to try to paint me as the guy that's wrong, me as the guy that doesn't know anything. And it's like somewhere in that argument, he ends up on my side of the argument at the end of it. It's like, yo, what are you talking? Like, you just want to argue with me and say that I'm crazy, but then at the end of the conversation, you end up agreeing with me. And some dude that hit me on Twitter and was like, yo, I created a whole, like, clip of all the times you said something and Joe said you were crazy and then end up agreeing with you. I was like, I want to see that because I know it exists. Because I'm sitting in the room like, but wait, I just said that and you said I'm crazy, but now you're saying what I'm saying. But, again, that's just Joe's personality. He loves to argue. And I'm very, very aware that when I'm in a room, most of the times I'm going to be looked at as the weird guy. I know everybody doesn't think the way I think.
Right.
I know everybody doesn't have the point of view that I have. And I'm okay with that. And I think that's what people love. Like, I know that I'm not going to have the popular opinion in the room, but I'm okay with that because I'm just being me and this is who I am and I'm being real. Like, this is not something that I'm forcing or just saying because I just want to say anything. Like, this is what I believe. And again, like I said, I'm not always right, but I'm always real.
Oh yeah, that's what makes it work. Just chemistry.
Yeah, the chemistry. Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing.
Right.
One thing I was going to ask you was, like, because we talk about it a lot on this show, and and you guys have done a great job of it, always, like, encouraging people to create. And, your guys' podcast is, like, part of a specific genre, which there's, like, literally thousands who try to duplicate what you guys do or implement, have their own style of it. But I was going to ask you, and I talk about it with a friend of mine. His name is Mike, and he hosts his own podcast. We're Just the Messenger. Shout out to Mike. And we talk about it, me and him, all the time about creating, and people don't understand sometimes how difficult it is to actually podcast. And you guys doing it twice a week is amazing, because we come in here sometimes and you have to like put yourself, I always say podcast mode, because you got to put yourself in the mode to do this and do it as much as you guys do. How difficult was it to transition to that 2 a week and just podcasting in general?
It was really difficult, man, and I'm glad you said that. A lot of people, they think it's just all about us sitting down and just having the conversation and recording it and putting it out, and they don't really realize it's more to it than that. You know what I mean? It's you got to have the right chemistry. You got to have the right people in the room. You got to be able to pull from nothing a lot of times, and just be able to have a conversation. But that speaks to a lot of this era too, though. Like, I think that a lot of these younger podcasters, they have a problem with it because they're not really forced to have conversations with each other anymore. Everything is text, everything is instant messenger, DM, and all that. Like, they don't really know how to sit in a room and just create conversation and stimulating conversation, not just talking about whatever, just like creating and stimulating conversation. And, I say that a lot to a lot of these young dudes that I talk to. I'm like, y'all don't even know how to talk to girls, because all y'all do is follow them on social media. You like their picture, you jump in their DMs, you might flirt. But then if you look up and she's standing right in front of you in the club, you wouldn't even know what to say to her.
I think
you're not forced to have that dialogue anymore, that human interaction. There's so many devices and platforms in between us that now when we're face to face, a lot of people don't even know how to conduct themselves. And I laugh at a lot of these dudes, because I'm like, y'all it's an era now where I tell people, like, your Instagram is like your business card, right? Like, you meet a girl, and the first thing she says, she won't even ask you for your number. She's like, what's your Instagram? And when she does that, it's just because she just wants to see, your story. She wants to see what you're about. She wants to kind of like scroll through moments of your life and, see what type of person you are and try to get a feel for you. So that kind of like, if you're not doing nothing on Instagram that's stimulating, if you don't have like a certain aesthetic to your Instagram, I tell a lot of these dudes, like, y'all think that, your jewelry and your car and all that's going to do the talking. It's like, yeah, but at a lot of times, a lot of these girls, they just want stimulating conversation. And a lot of these dudes don't know how to do that. So when you're talking about podcasting now, you're asking people to sit down in a room and create a stimulating conversation to put out to the world. So now you got to talk about things that, you feel like the world is talking about or the culture is talking about, and try to create a conversation from a perspective that gives information and is entertaining and funny and emotional and real. And because, people could feel that. They could feel when it's coming from a real place. And I tell a lot of these people, the toughest thing I think about us, like you said, twice a week, imagine doing that. And then now we're doing live shows. So now we got to sit on stage and create stimulating conversations in front of 2,000 people and hope that they're entertained, and then I can record a show to put out on Spotify and on YouTube. Like, it's not easy, you know what I mean? It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. It's I know it looks easy, you know what I mean? But I encourage people to try it. Like when we was doing it, we didn't have all the answers. We didn't know what we were doing at first. We just knew that we wanted to be consistent. We knew that we wanted to be informative. We knew that we wanted to be entertaining, and we knew that we wanted to create something that was a timeless classic thing in the culture, to where people will go back and point to and say, okay, this was something that changed the culture. This moved the needle in the culture in a different direction and created a space and a platform for creatives to have another outlet. You know what I mean? And I think that until this point, I think we've done a pretty solid job. It's always humbling to hear people say that, they subscribe to you, they listen to you all the time, they love what you do. Like, this is not a script. I'm being who I've always been my entire life, but now to be recognized when I walk outside and people say, yo, I love what you do, it's humbling, man, because like I said, this is who we are. Like, this isn't a script. We're not reading from a script. We're not actors. This is who we are. These are real thoughts. These are real conversations. These are real emotions. And don't get it twisted. There's a lot of times where we beefed, we curse each other out. We didn't want to record, we arguing, the business gets in the way, and, certain business things aren't right. But you got to put yourself and put your ego to the side a lot and say, you know what, I recognize that what we're doing and what we're building is something that's going to be iconic. It's something that's going to create a path for somebody else. So whatever you can do to protect it and keep it going, you have to do that. And I think we've done a great job of that. And, you know, again, it's a humbling thing, man, but it's not easy. You know what I mean? I tell people all the time, it's not easy. Podcasting is not easy. This is why I support, you know, a podcast like y'all. Y'all asked me to come and sit down and kick it with y'all. I have no problem doing that because I understand how hard it is. I understand what y'all doing, and I respect it.
And we've been doing it a long time, too.
We never met, and, you know, anything like that. I don't know y'all like that, but
right.
I'm hoping that y'all are stand-up guys and that y'all are great guys, and y'all have a platform. Y'all talking about sneakers. I like sneakers. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up the thing about, like, for me, at least, I turned it into content creation because the thing you said about being able to talk, I remember I saw commentary from Charlemagne about starting the MTV show, and they were trying to find him a co-host, and they ran through so many people who couldn't even get up there and make it flow normally, let alone be like witty, funny, whatever. So that right there just... And this was probably a couple years ago when I saw that, but like, it's people don't realize that it's hard to be in the mode of doing this because you have to be entertaining. You know what I mean? Like, you don't necessarily have to be funny, but you have to be able to talk. It's almost like you listen to somebody on the radio and they're so comfortable, but when someone gets on the radio who you know is not used to it, instantly like all the energy is drained out the building. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Right. Well, it's not easy, man. It's not. A lot of these dudes are comfortable, you know, on their phones and on, you know, Instagram and talk, you know, posting videos on their story. But when you put them in a room and, you know, ask them to create that scene, you know, with cameras and people around, you know, people can't duplicate that. They freeze up. They're not as funny. They're not as outspoken. So again, man, you know, it's a thing of. It's repetition. It's muscle memory. You know what I mean? Like I said, when we was doing this years ago, there was a lot of things that we didn't know what the hell we were doing. You know, we didn't know how it was going to work. And then you start talking about live shows. We didn't know what the hell we was going to do at a live show. You know what I'm saying? Right. We was like, all right, cool. Right. This is something where it's like people are going to come and they're going to expect us to rap or something. You know what I mean? It's like people come out. And really, honestly, like we've done some venues where, you know, the people at the venue tell us like, yo, we just had so-and-so here, you know, be a big rapper. You know, he was just here 2 days ago and he couldn't sell this place out and y'all sold it out and y'all just sitting up here talking. So it just shows you where the culture is going and where this podcasting platform is going. It's like, you know, people are now coming out to see people sit down and just have stimulating, entertaining, informative conversations. Yeah. It's not even about playing music and rapping and having a show and all of that. It's like people just want to sit down and they want to feel like, okay, I'm listening to something. They're listening to us. We're taking questions from them. We're answering questions, and it's an intimate thing, even though it's 2,000 people sitting in the audience.
You have any advice for like podcasts? I mean, and I'm not asking for us in particular, but a lot of our supporters. A lot of people who listen to our show, Sneaker Podcast, like our Sneaker Podcast, they've started their own Sneaker Podcast. They've started their own stuff, you know what I mean? And, you know, it's flattering because, and whether they say it or not, I know why they did it. It's because, and it's a good thing. Like, it's because, like you said, chemistry. George and I, we actually work together, our regular 9 to 5. So we know how to conversate. Like, we know how to talk besides text message and stuff like that. But
we also would be comfortable. We've been doing this. Okay, so my thing is always, I go back to the first episode. Our first episode was awful in terms of
content.
Maybe the actual content was bad, but we still were like, you could tell we knew
each other.
Yeah, we were in here and we knew what we were doing in terms of there was no awkward pauses, no awkward silence. They kept moving, you know, none of that stuff where you would be like, they need to quit doing this.
So like, do you have any advice for anybody who's like starting out or like reached a point to where, because we're on 210 episodes and we've been doing this for 4 years, and there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that we talk to who have like reached this point of like quitting. And I've committed myself to not stopping this podcast. Is it just a keep going thing, or is it just finding a different goal for your podcast?
Nah, man, it's all about, trust me. It's funny listening to you say that because, we've been there. We were there at one point where it's like, yo, what are we doing? We're gonna keep doing this. A lot of people don't remember we were doing this when we weren't getting paid. We weren't getting paid a dime to do this. You know what I'm saying? It was like, but we knew that we had something special, and we saw that we saw the growth, we saw the momentum, we saw the change happening. And then, when we did the live show in New York a few years ago at Highline Ballroom, and, the line was down the block around the corner, that's when it's like, okay, something is happening. You know what I mean? Like, that's when you could see it. Because now, when you put it out on streaming platforms and, the people listening, you get the metrics and you see, oh, damn, 400,000 listens. Like, that's great. But even that doesn't compare to pulling up to a venue and seeing a line wrapped around the block of people that are coming out to actually see you and listen to you. Like, that's when you know that something is happening. And, it's going to be a lot of times, man, where y'all going to feel like, I don't want to do this, or you don't really see the point, or you don't really... The most important thing is you have to have fun with it. Like, once you stop having fun, that's when it's going to feel like work. That's when it's going to feel like a job. And that's when you're going to feel like, I'm working for free. I'm not really getting paid. It's not nothing. It has to be a passion. It has to be something that you believe in. It has to be like a baby. You have to nurture it. You have to want to see it grow and be successful. And that's what I tell all podcasters and creators. I don't care what you're doing, what you're creating. There's going to be times where you want to give up. There's going to be times where you don't see the point. You don't understand, like, the end game. You don't have an end goal. You just like, yo, what am I doing with this? Like, where am I trying to take this? And that's okay. Sometimes you don't know. But to me, that's the beauty in this. It's like, yo, I don't know where this is going to go, but fuck it. I ain't doing nothing else. Like, why not? Like, let me just do this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing nothing else. Like, why not record with my friends and talk about shit that we love and we like and put it out there? You know what I mean? Like, it's just something that you have to just sometimes go in blind and just believe in it. Like, yo, you know what? We don't know what we're doing. We talking about sneakers. Fuck it. We like sneakers. Turn the mic on. Let's talk about sneakers. Let's talk about, what we think about this shoe and how it feels. And, every time I wear this shoe, for whatever reason, the girls smile at me more. Whatever. Like, whatever. Fuck, just make it entertaining.
We ain't got no analytics on that.
Yeah, like, you gotta have fun with this shit, man. Like, it gets to a point, like I said, because it's major money in podcasting now, so I feel like people are doing it for the check. And I'm saying a lot of people get podcasts, and it's like, okay, cool, whatever. But do you love this shit? Like, do you? Because it's gonna be times where you don't want to do it. You know what I mean? But it's like, if you love this shit and you have fun with it, you'll do this every day. You'll do this every day and have fun doing it and love it. But if it starts to feel like, a burden and you really don't want to do it, you're going to want to quit, man. And again, I tell all creatives, I don't care what you're creating. I don't care what it is that you're trying to push out there. Just be passionate with it. Have fun with it. Laugh. Be emotional, be upset, but don't give up, man, because you never know. If you would have told me that we would be, on the road, on tour, doing a live podcast and 2,000 people coming out to see us, I would have laughed at you. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
But now it's a reality. Now they want us to come to London. They want us to come to Africa. They want us to come to Australia. Like, these are the things that are real, and it's happening all because of something that, again, we didn't know what we were doing when we first started this shit. We didn't see it. We just had conversations and we saw things happening where it was like, hold up, like, there's a shift happening. There's something going on with this podcast and shit. Like, you start to see radio wants to get in on podcasting now. And then you start to see, this streaming platform has dedicated $1 billion to their podcasting platform. It's like, okay, when people start cutting checks like that, that means they know something is happening. And that means they spent $1 billion, they plan on getting $3 billion back. You know what I'm saying? So there's something here. Like, let me keep doing this. And then again, it's something that is not really, it's not really difficult to set up and do your own show in your apartment or your house and have people come over and just record conversations, as long as you're able to put the right people in the room and talk about the right things and be knowledgeable on certain things. I think it's something that I encourage everybody to do. Just try it, man. Like, people, back in the 80s, they laughed at me. Somebody said, I want to be a rapper. Now hip hop is the biggest culture on the planet. So,
Right.
you know what I mean? You got to kind of, like, honestly, that's how I look at it. Like, at one point, people didn't know what rap was. They didn't know what the hip hop culture was about. They didn't want to have nothing to do with it. Now you look at all of these Fortune 500 companies, they're all in business with the culture in some way or fashion.
Yeah. And rappers want to do talking gigs. They want to do podcasts and internet radio shows and whatever else.
Because you control the narrative. You control what you want to say. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of rappers don't even want to do interviews no more because, you know, a lot of these interviews, they kind of spin the narrative and just trying to create, you know, whatever type of thing they're trying to build. But when you do a podcast, you give artists and athletes the creative space. Like, listen, you could come on here and say whatever you want to say.
You know, that's funny.
And once you give people that freedom, you know, you give people that freedom, they love that. They're like, oh, I can sit down, I can say what I want, and it's not going to be no, say what you want. Let's just talk about it. And once you give people that space to do that, I think, you know, it only makes sense that people would want to do it. And that's why I think that this podcasting thing is big, man, because everybody, I think, has the opportunity to, you know, voice their opinion. A lot of people don't deserve an opinion. I'm big on that. Like, I don't think that everybody that has social media should have a voice. I don't think everybody that has a mic and a camera should have a voice, because some people just don't have nothing to offer. But for the ones that do, I encourage you, man, do this, push, go forward. Don't worry about, you know, having a end goal or, you know, trying to figure it out. You'll figure it out as you go. Sometimes, you know, you look up and life just figures it out for you. And then you're in the space where it's like, yo, I never thought I would be doing this. Like, if I never, like, a lot of my homeboys still can't believe that I sit in front of a camera and a microphone and actually speak, because I'm such a private person.
Right.
Honestly, like, I've been a private person my entire life. Like, so for them to see me doing this, it bugs them out. They're like, yo, you're not this type of guy, but it's dope because you're being yourself. Like, this is exactly who you are. You're not playing a character, but it's just wild that, you know, I'm actually sitting in front of a camera and putting my face and my voice out to the world now, because I've always been such a reserved person.
Well, it's funny you say that, because, like, you know, which made me cringe. My mom had found out we did a show. I had never told my mom that we did a show, but she had found out somehow. And she watched us on YouTube, and it made me, like, cringe. Like, I was like, oh, God. But the first thing she said to me was, you act different. And because I'm very serious a lot of times. Like, I grew up with a brother who was really wild and entertaining and energetic. So it kind of just like, oh, okay, I'll let him do his thing. Like, I'll be more reserved, you know? But with the podcast, like you said, like, I feel like podcasting has built this platform for after careers. One thing that you always talk about on the podcast is how rap music, it isn't supported. Like, it's like bad when you get older. Like, it's like once you're a rapper and you start getting older, you're not supported like rock and roll acts and stuff. People still, thousands and thousands will still go watch the Rolling Stones and stuff. But, like, you know, they might not go out and see, you know, a KRS-One or Rakim or anybody else who's still rapping. But podcasting is sort of like sports analyst. It's like, once you're an athlete, now I can retire and be a sports analyst. I can be on sports television with musicians, rappers, anybody else. You can say, all right, you know what? I've done the rap thing, and now I can come here and give my real opinions, real advice, real things on a podcast, on a platform, and be free with it. You know, there's you guys, there's a lot of people doing so. You got like Quentin Richardson, Darius Miles, they do the Knuckleheads podcast. You have Shaq does his podcast, you know, so forth. So it is a good platform. And you guys are definitely like pioneers in it. And, you know, Joe started the podcast, like you said, with Roy and Marissa way before I was listening to it, way back then when Cardi B was on there. You know what I mean? And it's crazy how it's just transformed, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely the podcast, and it's happening fast. And I tell people all the time, like, the podcast world is moving really, really fast. A lot of companies are investing so much money into building podcast platforms and stuff like that. But again, it's a nod to the creatives, man. It's a nod to the culture. It's a nod to, you know, people just finding a way to, you know, voice their opinion and give their perspective on things. And I'm all for it. If it's dope and it's informative, if I can learn something from it, and, you know, it gives me some type of, it draws some emotion from me. Like, I love it, man. It's just like watching a movie. If it's good and it's, you know, it creates some type of emotions, it was a good movie for me. Same thing with podcasts. I listen to some of these podcasts, and I'm like, okay, dope. Some of these podcasts, I'm like, I'll never listen to this again. Like, you know, whatever. But again, I'm all for creators, man. Anytime dudes sit down or women sit down and try to create something dope, like I can only salute it and encourage them to keep doing that.
You know what? I have, before George has one last question, but I have a question before that. The podcast went from like, one thing I always worry about with sneakers is sneakerheads have such a short attention span. And with us, our podcast has touched I almost reached 3.5 hours one time doing a podcast episode by myself. And I noticed that evolution with your guys' podcast. Like, you guys went like, Say what?
I'm listening, guys.
Oh, yeah, no, and I was saying, like, I noticed that evolution with your guys' podcast. You guys will reach a 3-hour episode quite a few times. Like, is that something that, like, just with us, it naturally happens? Is that, like, a naturally happen thing with you guys? Or, like, do you guys set out to, put longer episodes out?
It's just sometimes during the week, there might be more things to get into and to talk about. So, that's why the shows run longer some days.
Right.
It just depends on what's going on. Sometimes you just find that groove where you don't want to interrupt it. Like I tell people all the time, there was the other day we put out an episode and I think it was only like maybe 2 hours.
It was short.
Like, oh, so short. It's only 2 hours. I'm like, if y'all knew that we were only contractually signed to 45 minutes, you would be very appreciative that we give y'all 3 hours.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Every episode, because
I saw that.
Like we could really just do 50 minutes and then, our contract is fulfilled. But, because again, you can't fit us, all of our personalities and our opinions into 50 minutes. So things run a little later than they should. But as long as it's entertaining, the one thing I tell people all the time is I never listen back. Like I can't listen to nothing for 3 hours. Like that's the length of the Malcolm X movie. Like I'm not listening to that.
Yeah, and like,
but I appreciate everybody that does. You know what I mean? I appreciate everybody that does.
Right.
Because, people listen to it during their commute to work or while they're working out or something like that. Or they're cleaning the house. So I understand that. But me personally, like, I'm like, listen, I was there when we recorded it. I know what was said. I don't have to listen back, so I really don't.
That's the running joke for me, too, even with the listeners. All the listeners know, because Greg and then our previous co-host who used to be here, they always on social media and on the show, whatever, you don't ever listen to the show. I say, yeah, because I was here. I don't need to listen to it. So it's literally the running joke.
Yeah, I don't listen to it.
For me.
I listen to it because I always listen for, like, mistakes, like, dang, should have did that, or like, I gotta stop saying or I look for improvements. Somebody had told me, like, oh, you listen to it.
That's good to do. I do that sometimes too, like, just to see what I can improve on as far as, like, speech and what I'm talking about.
Right.
And sometimes I listen back to some things I said and I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely don't feel that way anymore. Like my stance changed on that. But for the most part, I really don't listen back to it.
Yeah, no, it's a mood. Sometimes I come in the podcast, I'm in one kind of mood, then I listen back to it like, oh man, like I feel ridiculous saying that.
You feel bad about every show, so.
Well, I think every show is trash because I think it could be better every single time.
Fam, every single episode is universally loved. I don't think we've had one episode where people are like, oh no, that's trash.
Doesn't matter. That's how you get better.
We have people who come specifically do thumbs down just to do thumbs down because it's like the only one. They just want to be the only one who gives thumbs down on YouTube.
Yeah.
We always get one thumbs down.
Yeah, that's a fact.
The final question for me is, we would be remiss if we didn't ask, we got to talk just real quick about, does Joe have a stylist? Because I know y'all be on his back for his fits and shoes and whatever else. So, like, even when he was doing the thing with Complex, did he ever ask you for advice on sneakers or, like, how to put a fit together or whatever? You got to talk in general about that real quick.
Well, with Complex, he had a stylist over there. But I think that he kind of had more of an influence on what he wanted to wear, and the stylist just kind of like went around whatever his style was. He didn't want to deviate too much from Joe, but I don't know, man. Joe just. But again, I can't be mad because in our culture, if we're a certain age, they're like, oh, you're not supposed to wear that.
Right.
Like, people tell me a lot of times, oh, I shouldn't wear some of the sneakers I wear. Like, you too old for that. And I'm like, well, what you want me to wear? Leather sandals? Like. Like, I'm 38. Like, I'm not 58. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, how do y'all want me to dress? But a lot of the times, I think I think, what Joe does now is he understands and he owns it. He owns the fact that he can't dress. Like, he doesn't really have style. But it works. It's like, okay, cool. You can't dress. You own it. And now we're just going to laugh at you every time you wear something. So it's like,
right.
Who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I know I can't dress. Like, whatever. Like, I'm trying, like, put something together that's, no, honestly, sometimes he'll put something together where I'm like, okay, that was cool. But it's funny because Joe was actually a sneakerhead.
Right. Yeah, I remember seeing him on videos 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah, like his sneaker collection might be bigger than mine. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just that he, now Joe just wants to, wear everything that's designer and high fashion now, I guess, because, he got some money now, so he kind of wanted to show people he got money.
Right. All right, last question, Maul. Like I said, this is the very last question. Like I said, I want to just thank you so much for coming on the podcast, giving us time out of your day. I know you could be doing anything else, but, giving us time, talk to us. We're doing pretty good for ourselves as the podcast, but we definitely look to you, and I appreciate the advice. Like, that advice alone, like, re-energizes me. Like, man, like, I think, like, man, we got to 210 episodes. I don't know if I got 210 more, but I want to,
No, you do. Trust me, you do.
But final question, who wins the NBA championship?
The Los Angeles Clippers.
Oh,
okay. So I'm glad, just real quick, I'm glad you brought that up because earlier I didn't get to mention it, but you guys were talking about Dame. I actually wanted Dame to play the Clippers in the first round. That's the matchup I want because all that stuff that happened in the bubble, and I know that, if Portland would have gone undefeated, they still wouldn't have been able to get to the 7th seed. That's the matchup I wanted to see because I want to see him eat Pat Bev up. I'm just sorry. I just do.
Oh, that'd be a good matchup, Pat Bev.
Yeah, if that Clippers team stays healthy, there's nobody that can beat them 4 times. Like I said, Kawhi has the highest winning percentage of any player in the NBA history. It's just, with his DNA over there now with that team, they're just balanced at every position. Like, they have every position covered. It's not many holes in their team. You know what I mean? So they're gonna be tough, man. I don't see any team beating them 4 times. And then Doc Rivers, obviously he's a championship coach.
Right.
I think this is just the year where, the Clippers finally get their first franchise championship.
That's so sad.
People stop calling them the paper clips. Like I said, I grew up in L.A.
Those days are over. As soon as Kawhi signed over there, those days were over.
I grew up in L.A., and I probably grew up at the sports arena going to Clippers games more than Laker games, and I'm actually, fandom-wise, I'm a Bulls fan because I grew up in the Jordan era. You know what I mean? Like you were saying with Magic, I grew up, Jordan was my guy. But I went to more Clippers games, and even to this day, all my friends that are Laker fans still call them the paper clips, even though Kawhi decided to go there. They got Paul George, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, it's over. The Clippers, I think this is the year they stay healthy, they win it all. And then they go back, I guess next year, if they're not in the bubble, they go back to their own arena next year, right?
I don't know. I'm going to say this. If the Suns play in the bubble next year, they're going 82-0.
And
that's a joke out here in Phoenix.
And see, and Maul, we're in Arizona, so like that 8th seed team you're talking about, the Blazers aren't an 8th seed team. The Suns would have been an 8th seed team. Like, the Suns would have got washed by the Lakers.
But see, look, Maul is somebody who knows, Mikal Bridges is going to be an all-star. He's already one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, and he's figuring it out on the offensive end.
He's good.
Yeah, he's tough. I like him.
He's really tough. But the Suns...
He's an East Coast guy.
I would have wanted the Suns to be in it because obviously we're here in Arizona and we support the Suns, but they would have got washed by the Lakers and it would have been bad.
Yeah, I wanted Dame and the Suns to both make it. I know it wasn't possible, but...
I didn't want the Grizzlies. Even though I like John Morant, I didn't want the Grizzlies to make it. They
lost JJJ. I didn't think they would even be in the discussion, but hey.
So... Like I said, Maul, I appreciate you coming on, giving us any time. I mean, I appreciate you just responding. And like I said, shout out to Zay Raw on Twitter he set this up. He tagged you, you responded and came on, man. That's the power of the internet. Obviously, we'll be listening every week. I'm finishing up Wednesday's episode, starting on Saturday's episode. You guys keep doing it.
We always tell people, like, anybody who's been a guest on the show over the phone, if you're in Phoenix and you want to come by the studio, we could do an in-person show, too. Because it's hard to have chemistry over the phone, obviously. I think it would be a lot better, funnier, whatever, in person. I'm sure you know that just based on your show.
No, absolutely. Whenever this quarantine thing is over and we can have these live shows again, I know that Phoenix is Phoenix is on the schedule for us. So when we come to town, I'll definitely come by there and chop it up with y'all.
Nice. I want to go to a show. I was about to drive. I was going to drive to California for one of the shows before the quarantine. And I was like, dang, I thought about Texas, but then it all shut down. And I was like,
oh no, we're definitely coming to Phoenix for sure. So don't worry about it. You know, as soon as the dates go up and we're able to get these live shows going, I'll definitely make sure y'all on my guest list and we'll have fun.
Oh, that's what's up. I appreciate that. All right, Ma, take it easy.
All right, man. Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Later.
All right.
All right. I don't have anything else. That was a good conversation. I like that.
I don't have anything else, but did you buy anything today? We might as well just talk about that real quick. Did you buy anything since we had a show?
Did I buy anything today? Oh, I bought hats. Fam, we got to chill with the hats, man. I bought 2 hats. I bought the shirt. I bought the hat.
What shirt are you talking about? Oh, the Phoenix Sun shirt?
No. The Hat Club shirt pre-order with the blue icy on the back.
Oh, I don't even think I saw that.
I pre-ordered the shirt and I got some blue underbill hats to go with it. Fam,
where did you get that hat? Was that a pre-order or is that?
Got this one off Hat Club. Hat Club when just a drop. And I told you I got this, and you was like, "Oh my god, a Boston hat, fire!" This side patch,
I'm not,
the greatest side patch of all time.
I'm only angry at them when they're good. Right now, they're terrible. They're like 7-14 or something like that. So like, and plus we got Mookie, so I can't be too mad.
Yeah, I mean they gave us Mookie, so we're fans.
Yes, it's like a Dodger hat.
Mookie is just as equivalent. Fam, Mookie is what's the man.
Okay, hold on. Let me just say this real quick.
I am so hyped for Mookie. No joke. I was on his Instagram like a thought, like, yo, let me see what Mookie doing. Or Twitter, I was like, yo, what Mookie talking about? Like a thought, like, yo, what's up with this?
Okay.
I'm about to buy a jersey. So he signed enough for me to buy a jersey.
Yeah, that's true.
Mookie is a fam.
Let me say this, because you going on and on. The obviously Mookie is a fantastic baseball player. But when you watch him on the field, you can tell he genuinely likes the guys in that locker room, and he loves being on that team. Today, I retweeted something that said he's hosting an event in Compton. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow, because he's telling everyone that he, in his first year in LA, where they're only playing 60 games, he wants to be a community leader already. So he's doing stuff for like youth in Compton. You want to talk about a fantastic role model. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
That's it. As
I say that, Trout just hit a home run. So
I'm about to buy a Mookie jersey, though. Mookie is the man, though. I don't care what nobody say. He's worth the money.
Oh, yes.
Worth the money. Like, I know I go against... There's been a lot of baseball players in the past who've, like, shown this incredible amount of talent, who gets these crazy contracts, and things get a little weird for them. But, fam, come on, man. Like... I'm so hyped for the Dodgers. I was telling somebody the other day, I said, man, the Dodgers are perfect for us. I mean, the Dodgers 60-game season, perfect. I didn't play 60 next year, okay? I love 60, all right? Only thing I don't love is, like, what's happened to hockey. But 60-game season, the Dodgers are prime. They're fine. They're ready.
Need more.
Going out there.
In a 162-game season, they might win the division by 20 games with this roster.
You know what's crazy is, like, hitting 1 home run in an empty stadium, okay? Because, like... The second home run, actually, you know what? Hitting 2, okay? But the third home run is completely built up off, like, the energy in the arena, the, like, feeling of, like, oh, man, I might hit 3, I might hit 4, 5, 6. Like, it's built off of that. It's nothing in there. That's how good he is. And when he throws the ball from the field, man, it's like a laser beam, though. I love Mookie Bloom. Like, he is my...
Watching him play the outfield is almost more exciting than watching him hit. I'll be honest.
Fam, I love...
He's the best. I mean, Bellinger was probably the best outfielder last year, center fielder or whatever, but Mookie is by far the best fielding player in Major League Baseball.
What else did I buy this week? Hats, shirt, no sneakers. I don't think.
You didn't cop pleasures. I caught pleasures. It was a code.
I didn't. I forgot. Like, you had texted and said it, and I was like, I'll wait for Reebok. And then I said, you know what? No, I'm not going to wait for Reebok. And then I got sidetracked, and then I saw your text, and I was like, oh my God, like, what the heck? And then I was like, well, they can't be sold out. I go back on the pleasure site. First of all, I went on pleasure and saw, like,
the website is nonsense.
The website is absolute nonsense. So I don't understand the pleasure of it. All right. The shirts on that site are insane. I didn't know Marilyn Manson was still a thing. 1, 2, and like the shirts.
That's his brand, apparently. I think
the website is like full of weird T-shirts, and then it was just a little Reebok, like just right there in the corner. The fact that like Marilyn Manson looks like to be their owner, mascot, creator of this brand, and then the Reebok just be tan. I was like, I don't understand this.
I'm sure they're what would you call it? Not aesthetic coordinator, but they're the person who's in charge of the designs for the stuff. You probably knew they wanted something a little muted for, that kind of project. I don't think your first thing out the door, you know what I mean? You're like,
for something like this,
selling a T-shirt is like, I mean,
yeah, but selling shoes right now, it has to be almost out there. That's what's selling is out there.
Nah.
What did you buy? You buy
like
anything?
them cats on Twitter? Who was talking about it? Sock and what's his name? The one I texted you about. He got the
G.
He got the Pumas.
G. Ain't it like with just a G exclamation point?
Oh, Ben Sirlith.
Okay.
Or I don't know if that's how you pronounce it or not, but he originally a couple days ago I had talked to him about Pleasures, and that's how I found out it was today because I only knew about it's on Reebok site.
Yeah.
And the only reason I checked out, well, two reasons. So I set my computer up to do. Fam, we'll get you out of here. Don't worry.
Oh no, I got a text. Relax. I'm gonna look at the clock. This is the Apple Watch. You like that?
Easy, you. Easy.
Fam, my wife was like,
my Apple Watch has been broke longer than you've owned that. So
I owned the very first one. We just took them back.
All right.
Now, my wife was like, oh, let's go to dinner. And I said, well, we might as well because Maul ain't writing me back. So I don't think we're going. And she said, I said, cool, let's go to dinner.
Go to dinner out here.
And then Maul wrote back and was like, I was like, oh, yeah, we ain't going to dinner. So, but I said, we'll go to dinner as soon as the podcast's over. So.
Oh, all right. You're good. You guys going to Steak 44 anyways. The only reason I caught was two reasons. So, like, I had set my computer up last night for the Kith thing this morning with Coca-Cola, and then you couldn't even jig it because they did the Yeezy password thing where they take everything down and it just says Kith password.
Oh, really?
So, I guess Sock said that they did that last year for the Coke thing and for their big collections, they only do it because they didn't do that on Gel Light 3s, which is why I got through. But so I prepared for the Coke thing. I like set my computer all up so I didn't do it on the phone. He said it's faster on desktop. All right. So I set my desktop up for Shopify. I have the credit card auto-saved, address auto-saved. You just, click, and you're done. So I failed on Kith because I couldn't even add, I added to the cart, but by the time I clicked checkout, I was in a queue, which I already lost at that point. So I was like...
Were you just going for the sneakers? I just went for I had a
Coca-Cola?
Yeah. Okay, I had the white Coca-Cola. Tried to get them in the cart.
I assumed the sneakers would sell because on StockX, all the other previous Coca-Cola sneakers are high.
Fam, if a high-top Coca-Cola would sell, I would imagine a low would do a lot better.
I think high top's original cut, so it's probably higher.
But we're talking about 2020 now.
The prices were a little bit lower, but over the years, in 2 years, it might be the same price as high. But anyway, so I failed on that. So I was like, Pleasure's at 10. Might as well give it a whirl, see what happens. So the shoe actually went live a minute early. I refreshed at 9:59 and it was on there. So I was like, let me see if I can check out. And it went to checkout immediately, which told me Shopify has the thing that narrows down the number of users and that's what the checkout queue is. You know what I mean? They don't allow everybody to get the checkout at the same time. So that told me that not a ton of people wanted them. And then I saw that it had a 12.5. So I was basically just testing my new checkout theory. Plus they had a 12.5, and I assume Bach is not going to have a 12.5. So that's why I was like, I'm going to check it out. Why not? Bach. And then we do things when you upgrade onto a new brand. You start giving nicknames, fam.
Fam, you bought 3 Reebok. Oh, we bought Reeboks too. We bought Legacies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Legacy classic leather.
Somebody said that we were lame on YouTube.
Oh, that's the shoe, by the way, because we got ours now. So,
but I put it in the video. I didn't put it at that timestamp, but I put it in the video. He said you guys are lame for that. I clicked it. It was when we wouldn't say what the Reebok name was. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So I got the Pleasures collab 12.5, and then what else did I buy? I bought some nonsense that I'm trying to the Eric Emanuel thing yesterday. Reebok Club C or whatever it is. I bought that just to flip. It may not flip for anything. I may make
what size you buy?
$20. Well, number one, Sock told me to get the orange one because that's the one that's exclusive to the website. I was thinking in my head the Laker colorway is the one everyone's gonna want because it's Kobe. But I think that I've seen thus far, I think the blue one is the highest, but not that many pairs have resold because no one has them. I mean,
what size you have?
12, I think. I bought a 12 just in case. If I get, it was only $100. It was 108, so that's not bad. But I was if I get stuck with it, then
you could wear it to the beach.
Yeah, I can at least wear it. So then it'll be another Bach I own.
And you bought 3 Reeboks. This is 3 more Reeboks you've bought, and 4 Reeboks. 4 Reeboks that you've bought in probably the last 10 years.
One of them
ever in your life.
Now, one of them. Oh yeah, matter of fact. Well, I don't know if you want me to talk about it on Tuesday or not, but I guess after that drop, Sock talked to Shopify people. So Shopify, if you want me to talk about the drop, send the bag, the appropriate bag. Send the appropriate bag. But he was Shopify asked if you guys can talk about on the podcast how the release went because Eric Emanuel's site has a question they ask in order for you to add it to cart. The question was, where's Reebok's headquarters? So I actually had time. The whole point in them wanting us to talk about it is because of like they show how like it cuts the bots out or whatever. So like I actually had time to Google.
Let's save that.
You want me to save it?
Let's talk about Tuesday.
Oh, all right.
Because that's a good topic. I have no time.
Oh, you want to talk about the whole thing?
Yeah, in general.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's a good topic. Like anything, like that's one thing that Sock is always good for on the show. Not having him on the show, but I mean, like anything like that. Let's save it Tuesday.
Yeah, computer-wise stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, and then we'll talk about also the Shopify CTO or whatever he is release. I don't know if you tried. We'll talk about it on the show.
Okay. We'll do it. Okay.
Did you try for any of those shoes or no?
Which ones?
On that release.
Eric Emanuel?
No, the Shopify CTO guy had his barcodes in all retail.
Yeah. I tried on it.
I think he said he only had like 70 pairs. But
I didn't. That's a cool idea, but man.
I didn't like the layout of the site, but was cool though. They made it where you click your size, it automatically goes to cart.
That was the only thing I did. Like, it didn't click and click a button. And I am trying to, because somebody else sent it to me first. Tape sent it to me first, but he didn't explain what it was. What the heck is this? A bunch of silhouettes.
You sent it to me like 2 days before.
Oh, I did?
Yeah. And then
okay.
No, I mean, I already knew about it, but then I texted you back and was like, yeah, that's the...
Oh. Well, Tapes sent it to me, and I was like a bunch of silhouette of shoes. And I was like, what the heck is this? Like, it's a bunch of shadows. And then...
But everything's retail.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, this cat must only got like 5 pairs. There's no way.
I think he said he bought like 70. It was first of all, it was a collab with Stadium Goods.
Let's save it.
All
right. Anything else?
No, I mean, I bought Reeboks and... And I got those Bel Air 5s. I guess we could say this on Tuesday.
We're going to save this.
All right. Bel Air 5s already sold. So
appreciate it. I appreciate them all. Appreciate everybody. That's just neat. This.